Hello, people of YouTube, and welcome back. So, yes, just made it on time. I'm like the last person to join the stream, but yeah, we've got a few great guests tonight to see how well we've been doing the PlayStation month. So I'll bring them all on one by one. Don't know if anyone's watching yet, but hello anyway. So who shall we have first? We'll go from the back. So we've got. Oh, well, we did have. Now then, Ross. How are you doing, bud?
Cool. Not too bad.
Not bad. You've been up
willfully unprepared for this.
Hey?
Sorry? What'd you say?
Sorry?
So I'm willfully unprepared for this.
I know, yeah, I think we all are, really. But, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a bit of a chat for video games, and that's all we care about, really, isn't it? So,
yeah. I know what I played, so that's good enough.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's good to chat a little about what we have. But, next up, I don't know how he's eating his food so quick because he said it's just arrived now. So we've got Paul, the Ink Northerner. How are you doing, bud?
It arrived early, surprisingly.
Did it? Yeah.
PlayStation month. I think I'm on the wrong stream here completely.
Have you played any PlayStation? You have played?
No. Just the only thing I played in April was Evercade. I might have played some PlayStation. At least more than Al played, to be fair. And it was supposed to make Al play PlayStation.
Well,
did he actually play it?
One game?
I don't think so.
Well, we'll find out soon enough anyway. So, next up... Oh, hang on. My dog's trying to eat my cheesy twist. We've got the Sony pony himself, Mark, Geordie Slasher Gaming.
Hello, lads. Hello, everyone in chat. Hope you're all well.
We've got a few people in as well.
You're well. We've not seen videos from you for a while.
Instagram's so much easier. You just put a picture on, don't you?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say it was balls deep in this PlayStation all month.
Well, I have been as well.
Balls deep in his PlayStation all month. He finished the 52 game challenge in 3 months. It's just ridiculous.
I got 55 today.
55 is a great number. It's the number that everybody should aspire to anyway.
I mean, that's like a century worth of games for some people, though, isn't it? Like 5 games a year. I know some people are doing. But
my fingers have been nubbed by the time I got through that quick.
I think I've hit 34, and it's not just rubbish titles like Al would play. I have actually played some reasonably good titles.
Yeah, well, I think I'm on 20. It's either 22 or 26. I can't remember. Oh, 26 would be halfway, so I don't think it's that far. I think that's Gordon's on.
Gordon hit that the other day.
Yeah, I must be 22.
The game I just finished Dishonored 2 today because Gordon spoke highly about it. I was like, it's been sat there for ages. I really, really enjoyed it.
Gordon spoke about it 5 minutes ago, so Mark's now done it. You see,
I started last night.
I literally watched a video last night and saw him talking about it.
I just got an 8-hour session just before we started.
Is it quite a short game then, is it?
I did about 3 hours last night, 3-4 hours last night.
To be fair, them stealth games, like it'll be just one corridor that you have to get down. It'll take me 4 hours just to get down there because I just can't do stealth games. I'm just terrible at him. I'm like, he's looking away and I sneak past him like on my tiptoes and they'll still watch me. They'll still see me, catch me. I don't understand it.
I played the first one and really enjoyed it, but I never finished it because I was trying to do the trophy for not killing anyone. So yeah, that was annoying me. They kept sliding off roofs and dying, so I'd have to keep reloading the checkpoints.
Well, I was going for a non-lethal run, and on the second from last mission, I killed someone. I used a proper bolt instead of a sleeping bolt from my crossbow, and the whole run was just ruined. So I just stormed through the last level and killed everyone out of frustration.
So can you go through all force then, can you?
Pardon?
Can you do all force run, can you? Can you just go all out?
You can play it how you want, yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. Because
it is harder if you go in and try and kill everyone. Because your health isn't very high and you get killed quite easy. So stealth, it is the preferred option.
Yeah, I bought the collection that includes 1, 2, and the DLC plus Prey. Is it Prey?
Yeah, that was by Bethesda and
it's the collection, the Arcane collection.
Yeah.
Cool. Which
I won't be
praise,
playing
the
any
new
more
praise,
there.
old praise?
Just buy a PC if that's your worry that you don't want to buy an Xbox.
You get Game Pass on PC.
You can play PlayStation games on a PC as well.
Not Bloodborne.
Well, I don't know. It depends what they decide they're going to be doing with the new stuff, but
I can imagine that'll get ported.
Yeah, that's coming into it. I think they've said that all the PlayStation exclusives are coming on PC, are they?
Yeah, well, they've ported God of War already, haven't they? So
Yeah.
Right, so we see who's in the chat then. So we've got John Retro Kit. How you doing, bud? We've got Gordon Gib84 talk about him. Chili, how you doing, bud? Been a while since I've spoke to you. Retro Bear, now then. Rock and Roller. Josh H. That's a new name to me. I don't know. Does anyone know?
He's
Josh?
on Instagram. He's a massive PlayStation 2 fan.
Oh, brilliant. Nice one. I'll have to check him out. You'll have to send me his link later. Rock and Roller, Zelda Pop, how you doing? Mark, Dad and Lads, he's in the bath. Well, I mean, I'm down here is getting lathered up quite a lot too, to be fair. So,
It must be cold because the bath's outside in Middlesbrough. It's just a tin bath outside in Middlesbrough.
We've got Rock and Roller, Nintendo month. We might touch on that later. Who knows? Big Game Al, how you doing? Generation Pixel, Raz Tendo, how you doing, bud? And Red 7, welcome. Welcome.
I didn't want to stop you midway through all the comments there, Eddie, but I just to touch on Retro Kit. He reached out to me today and offered me some stuff, and I really didn't. I wanted to kind of pay him for it, but he would not take it. The guy is such a generous guy for doing that for me. I just want to put that out there. I'm going to do a video on what he sends me, but I just think he deserves that little bit of a shout.
He's just done a video live an hour ago with his daughter smashing Double Dragon on the VS.
Really?
Better than I could do it. I'm terrible at it.
Yeah. Great game, but it is actually hard. I mean, you have to press 2 buttons to jump, so that's just weird, isn't it? Yeah, but anyway, that's
it's weird having your two sticks on the same level. It's just strange as hell.
2 sticks on the same level
on the PlayStation controller.
PlayStation pad, do I?
Oh, right. Yeah, I mean that is how nature intended controllers
this
to be.
Is how it should be.
I mean, look at it. It's crooked, bullseye. You've had to add stuff on there because it wasn't right first time.
No, I can take it off.
But you've had to add it there. You've needed to add something to make it.
It's forced a habit for Call of Duty. To be fair, I just had them on my old one and kept it on. Surprisingly, unlike Sony, the Xbox things, the accessories that you get will work with the generations after. Just putting that out there.
To be
strangely,
fair,
my thumbs slip off of PlayStation controllers, off the sticks. I don't know why. Always have them.
Yeah, no.
I thought we had to celebrate Sony, not. That's the only reason I came on.
Well, this is the Sony side, and that's the Xbox side, isn't it?
Yeah. Jesus.
But no, to be fair, I'm not going to lie. It was only the PlayStation 4 controller I truly loved the dual analog, and that's because all the old ones were like, it was like there was a bump on it, and like you say, your thumb kind of naturally fell off, whereas the PS4 it's concave, so it like just sticks in there and stays in, and it's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I am really Josh, and I did enjoy playing the PlayStation games that I played this month. So,
Gordon. Exactly right, mate. Exactly right. D-pad in the wrong fucking place, and it really is. Who puts? I mean, why would you want to reach over?
Because you don't need the D-pad.
I mean, he's okay. The Sony Pony
I'll give it
plenty of reach. He's had plenty of reach around practice to get to that D-pad.
The PlayStation is a much better D-pad. Like I found it so much easier playing Crash Bandicoot on the PlayStation than I did on the Xbox. I will concede that. I will concede that because it's an actual D-pad rather than the rounded D-pad.
But again,
I've yet to touch. I've yet
Microsoft
to
picked you.
controller. Oh no, I have. I've played on my mate's PlayStation 5 controller. It is really good. It's not as good as the Xbox One controller, but that's besides the point.
But the D-pad's just still as mushy as the PS4 one. To be fair, the 5 it isn't any. But the Xbox Series S and X, that D-pad, oh my god, it's beautiful because it's like micro-switched, but it's just in the wrong fucking place.
There's so much.
It really is.
So much technology in that PlayStation 5 pad. Playing on my mate's PlayStation 5. I can't even remember what game we were playing, but you know, the whole touchpad in the middle was fantastic for what you were trying to do, and the vibrations it would play. It's such a better pad than PlayStation 4 at times.
It's the recoil, you know, on the shoulder buttons when you're firing.
Yeah, that's the other thing, yeah.
That's cool, but not enough games use it. So many games, like third-party ones, you play it, and it's just like it feels like there's nothing to the triggers on the PS5 controller. I find that weird. It should be in every game if they're going to put it in.
So what did the anyway,
do?
We're
not here to bash to talk about the pads or the console wars or anything like that. We're here to talk about Sony games we've played this month.
Yeah, we have played games, honest.
Well, let's have a bit of let's rejoice about why we love PlayStation. Go on, Paul, and we're going to go straight to you. Why do you love PlayStation so much? So what was it? What was your first sort of like foray, or have you got a good story to bring?
Yeah. So I'm obviously seen as the Xbox person. I appreciate that Ross probably knows more about the whole war and the history and the games than I do, but I'm seen as the person who is only Xbox because just because of my history of Xbox being my main, it's the one that I have the nostalgia for. But I actually do have nostalgia for PlayStation. And the thing was, growing up on a council estate, we got Sony, I don't sue me, but we had a chip PlayStation, and I used to go to the guy around the corner who used to do copy games, and I picked up a copy of the one that sticks in my mind is picking up a copy of Wu-Tang and playing that and thinking that was an amazing game because it was the first one I played with all the music and the swearing and the violence, and thought it was immense. And it's because of things like that. And I would say that I can't remember what my top 10 games were, but I think out my top 10 games, half of them were Sony games, maybe 4 of them. The closest one being being Blood Omen. You give me Blood Omen now, and I'll play it through, and it's difficult as hell, given that I'm old. But I still love it. Everything about it. It was the first game that made me kind of really sit down and play a story-driven game. Incidentally,
it's more like the full Monty with us than Chippendales, isn't it?
I don't know. It'd be camera would make it look too small. And it's supposed to add what, £10 or something. But yeah, no, I do have a love for PlayStation. I like to ham up that I'm the Xbox guy, and you know it is what it is. I play to that.
Well, you're the token Xbox guy. That's what it is.
I wasn't the Xbox collector though, was I? Until he changed his name.
It's all good.
But yeah, I mean to be honest, I think a lot of us. I think that's what won a lot of people over into PlayStation. How easy it was to copy games, though, wasn't it? Really, I put my hand up. A lot of my games played was copied. I don't know about the other two. Yeah, Ross.
Marcus is in the chat. No. I'm not saying no.
I think do we have a statute of limitations in the UK? I hope so, because I'll be waiting for the Lancashire Constabulary to be at my door after we Marcus in the chat. Although I didn't copy the games, so I don't know how that works.
Well, it's only illegal to sell them, isn't it? It's not illegal to actually, distribution.
Yeah, never bought them. Never paid the guy money ever. Promise.
Well, there was a lot. I'm probably putting someone in trouble here because there's only one comic book shop in Scunthorpe. But there was a comic book shop in Scunthorpe. I used to go to the back room, and about two. I think it was £2 each. And there was a big folder he had, and he had like games from all over the world. But you'd never know if it was an English game, Japanese. You would just come and you'd be like, I don't know what the hell this is saying, but yeah, this is pretty cool for £2. But
see,
yeah,
I mean, Blood Omen. I got my first copy of Blood Omen because my dad used to do a mobile video round with his mate. So I don't really remember video men coming to your door and you go to the boot of a car and pick videos out. And when it moved to kind of more DVD, they started putting out. They started doing games as well and getting rental games. And Blood Omen just happened to be in a box of games that my dad had brought in because he didn't want to leave them in the car. And I took it out. I like the look of the case. I took it out. It was the rental case, the black clamshell one. Took it out put it in PlayStation, and just absolutely fell in love with it. Thought it is for me probably the best game best PlayStation game that there has been. And I'm hoping now that Square Enix have been bought out or whatever, that we can see a resurrection of it.
Square's not getting bought out.
Well,
They're just selling the Western IPs to go.
Yeah,
what is it?
sold all the IP.
That stupid fucking what's it called? Pictures that they're selling or whatever it is.
Oh,
What are they called?
NFTs.
NFTs. That's it. Non-fungible tokens. What a load of bullshit.
But you think about Squaresoft owns and the stuff that Squaresoft, all the IP that Squaresoft own, or Square Enix as they are now, it's a lot of IP for that investment company to buy to not put it out. Admittedly, they've got to find studios that will put it out, so we don't know who they're going to get to do the stuff. But
didn't they buy the studios?
It was Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy selling so badly. I think they just went, right, it's just not worth it anymore.
I really don't understand why Guardians of the Galaxy sold so badly.
Because Avengers did so bad, they just didn't advertise Guardians. They just thought
Avengers wasn't great, and I've only played it.
People just thought it was the same thing again.
Yeah.
But
I didn't get it until Gordon said it was really good because I thought it was just going to be another online co-op thing, and it didn't interest me for the first couple of months.
It was Gordon that got me to play Guardians as well, and it's immense. It's really, really good.
But the thing is, as well, the sale of Tomb Raider and everything like that, that they're going to try and get their money back, and to make the money back, that means a new Tomb Raider is coming around the corner. Give it a couple of 2 or 3 years, there'll be a new Tomb Raider, which I think Square's just been sitting on. I don't think they've been bothered about making one, so that's awesome. That's awesome news to me because I absolutely love the reboots of Tomb Raider.
I really like the Tomb Raider reboots. They were great. To the point where I'm considering buying them on PlayStation 3 just to play them again.
I just didn't like what they did to Laura. I thought they made her like a whiny bitch. Like she was really strong character, and the first one was like didn't give a shit, right attitude, and then she was just a whiny bitch in the new ones.
I thought it was Nathan Drake falls over a lot. Let's make Lara fall over a lot.
Yeah.
Well, let's not kid ourselves. If it wasn't for Tomb Raider, you wouldn't have Nathan Drake. And I think Uncharted became such a big success, so they tried to, like Ross is saying, make Tomb Raider the same sort of thing. It's ENIX, so that's Enix, you fucking Swedish dick.
Well, actually, you just call it Squeenix anyway. People Squeenix.
I am joking, Raz. I apologise for calling you a Swedish dick.
There's actually a game that's just been released. I put it in the chat earlier.
Is it called Swedish dick?
It's Swedish slang for penis. I can't remember what it's called. I'll have to find it again. But it's just been released on PlayStation 4. Raz, what's Swedish for penis? Put it in the chat for us, please. But yes, anyway, the Slowly Pony, Mark, what's early memories or good memories for PlayStation?
So, like a lot of people my age, I was Mega Drive, and then you heard the Saturn was coming out, so you were thinking, well, I'm just going to get the Saturn. But then these adverts started coming on the telly for the PlayStation, and I still think they're some of the greatest adverts of all time. And it just looked so cool, you know, when you were seeing Wipeout and Tekken and Ridge Racer. And it was, I think that from the 16-bit to the 32-bit, I think was the biggest jump we've ever had. Like, as in, wow, this is so next gen.
Yeah.
Ironically, I think the PlayStation 1 3D-wise is held up worse than any other generation, even the 16-bit, if you look at it. But the PlayStation just had like such a cool factor when it first came out. I got mine in Christmas 1996. I got it from Toys R Us. I remember because it was £250. My mum got it. I got Zero Divide, Worms, V-Rally, and Doom. And then off my dad, I got Tekken 2 and FIFA 97 with David Ginola on the front of FIFA 97. But going from the Mega Drive, the worst, if I could just go back and tell young Mark, get a memory card, because I didn't know anything about memory cards. And I had these games, like especially Tekken 2. Every time my friends would come round and would play, just before they'd come round a couple hours, I'd have to play through with every character to unlock them. So, you know, I had all the characters for when they came round. The PlayStation 1, it was the first console where, like, money I earned from a paper round. I bought my first ever game with my own money that I earned. The PlayStation 2 was the first console I ever bought with my own money from work. And the PlayStation's just been with me since I was 12, 13, all the way till today. Like, my whole life, I remember, you know, like people remember smells and stuff, and it reminds them of certain times. A certain game will remind me of a certain time in my life, and it's all Sony. I know it sounds like so over the top, but Sony PlayStation just means so much to me. It's my like whole adult life there's been a Sony there.
I have a question.
As gay as all that sounds.
I have a question for you. Who would you have sooner seen on FIFA 97, Ginola or Shearer? Or Ginola and Shearer, I guess.
So there's two moments in my life where I've questioned my sexuality. And they were for very short moments. One, I actually told Goldie today, was Sam Elliott in Roadhouse. I just thought...
I understand why.
And David Ginola for about 5 minutes when I was about 13, 14. I didn't know if I was gay because I was just looking at David Ginola going, that's the perfect man.
Sam Elliott as Wade Garrett.
I don't know why I've just confessed all that.
I think you two are like just going over mine and Ross's heads, really. I mean, I know the names, but I don't really know what they look like.
I was tempted to pull the game out to have a look.
Well, Sam Elliott isn't a footballer, so
no, but I could see who the footballer is.
He's a French pimp.
So, Hypertrigger X has just mentioned he needs to try Shadow of the Tomb Raider again. Yeah, I looked at your trophies, and you've not done any of the Tomb Raiding on it, which is like kind of the crux of the game. That's the problem about that game is you can go and just do the story mode and avoid all of the good stuff, but you have to like purposely go out your way to do some Tomb Raiding, which is, I suppose isn't ideal. But if you want to do, that's what's good about trophies. And with trophies, when you want to hunt trophies a little bit, you always look on there like automatically, and even if you're not going to go for a platinum, you always try and get as many as you can. And you find, oh, there's new bits of game here that you can completely miss if you don't go trophy hunting. And that's why Nintendo get some fucking trophies on your system, man.
I was just saying, I was looking at the comments and RetroKit said Ginola died, didn't he, and was luckily brought back. Football would be so much more entertaining with necromancy. That'd be amazing.
Did someone give him a green mushroom or something? Is that what it was? But yeah, Ross, any PlayStation memories?
Yeah, I didn't have a PlayStation when I was a kid. I went from Mega Drive to N64. I'm hitting things. But my mate had one, and we'd go around and we'd go around. We played all the Tomb Raiders. We used to get obsessed with them. It's where it started. My love for survival horror games. We played all like the Resident Evils, and I remember playing the demo of Silent Hill, which came with the Metal Gear Solid. So we had to track that down. We played it, and there's one scene in that the game didn't really do much to me as a kid, apart from the scene where like Lisa, the nurse, walks towards the camera. I won't spoil it for a really old game if anyone's seen it, but what happens in that messed me up as a kid and stuck with me. I don't know why, but yeah, that same game that he bought the Metal Gear Solid with the demo in the local Echo. He used to buy and sell games, and he put his Metal Gear Solid in there when he finished it. And some, gonna call him a bit of a twat, came round and talked him into trading it for a copy of Fade to Black, telling him it was the same type of game. And yeah, Fade to Black is up there. It's one of the worst things I've ever played. if everyone's ever played it, isn't it really? Like a?
It was like the 3D. It was going to be the sequel to Flashback, but they just changed it in the end. It's by the same guys and that. I
was going to say yes. I thought it's the sequel
to Flashback. Not InfoWars. That's with Alex Jones. Info something. It's French, I think.
Infograms.
Yeah.
Well, actually, infograms is something else. It's like not quite infogrames or something, isn't it? It's a bit weird.
It's got like an aardvark or something on the picture.
Yeah, it's infogram. It's got an E on the end.
But yeah,
that was the game I didn't have a memory card for.
I remember him not having a memory card for a long time. But
so Stu was 27 at the time of Silent Hill.
Yeah.
When was Silent Hill released? Was it 96?
99.
99. Oh, yeah. So I was 16 at the time. And so were you, Mike.
No, you can't be 16 because I remember playing when Silent Hill came out. I remember playing it. No, it was Resident Evil. Resident Evil came out before Silent Hill, didn't it?
Yeah,
and I remember playing Resident Evil in the caravan, my parents' caravan, when I was about 14 or 15, and I'm older than you.
So was it? So Res Evil came out
96.
Yeah. It was out in Japan in about 94, wasn't it? Late 94, because the what's he called? The director who did
Hideo Kojima.
The director of I want to say Walking Dead all the time now. It's not Walking Dead. Night of the Living Dead. George A. Romero. So George A. Romero did the trailer for the Japanese audience of Resident Evil, and that was about 94, and it took a good 2 years for it to get to Western audiences.
I just checked Silent Hill's release date. It was 1999.
It was 99, yeah. So I was 16 in 99. Yeah. I left school in 99.
By the way, before I finish this beer, I said I'd tell Chrissy that she wanted me to tell everyone what it was called, only because it was cracking her up so much. It's Goose Willis. It's some gooseberry sour, and apparently she bought it in the shop because she was cracking up in the aisle. So said I'd mention what it was.
I'm disappointed she didn't just get you cans of soup, though. That would have been fun to see you bouncing off all them walls.
Oh, no, that'd be horrible, wouldn't it? Could do one or two. After that, I get the jitters.
Yeah, it's
I didn't know they still did it until like I went out to a shop near Liverpool with Dylan, and I was like, I need to get some of this. It's been too long.
You want to go anywhere where there is a very big expat Scottish community, and you'll find lots of dragon soup. It seems to be and a lot of Bucky as well, because it seems to be a big thing.
I've never seen Bucky in a UK supermarket anywhere. Just never seen it.
Never in a supermarket. I used to get it in the local shop near me in my hometown.
The off-license is around here, do it?
It was made in England for years, or wasn't it, in Buckfast Abbey?
It is. It's still made there. It's just imported. But it's not
I thought they took it up north.
No, it's still made in Buckfast Abbey. But Glasgow,
which is in Cornwall, isn't it? It's down south.
It's down south somewhere.
The guys who make it aren't allowed to drink it, so I wonder how they know what it tastes like. How do they taste test it?
They don't. They just push it with their feet, and the Glaswegians suck the hell out of it.
They've just got a couple of drunk Scots that are just like roaming the abbey. They're like, try some of this. And if they keel over, they're like, oh shit, we've made it too strong. Like, calm it down, lads.
Like Buckfast is like a council house Lambrini, isn't it? It's that bad.
It's worse than that.
Oh man, Lambrini. It's so nice. Have you ever had like the fruit Lambrinas? Like there's I think it's blackberry that they do. Oh man, that's just beautiful.
I've tried some, but not a fan. But this isn't PlayStation.
It's so easy to drink.
It's like Mad Dog mixed with caffeine. It's just horrendous.
Love it.
Anyway,
but yeah, PlayStation. Yeah, so yeah, PlayStation memories. I remember when I found out it being released. It was back in the day. Obviously, we didn't see things on the internet and stuff like that. So it was like mainly through magazines, and I think it was. I think it was like the first ever Edge magazine that I first heard of the PlayStation. And I can remember the next day coming into school with my magazine in hand going, there's a new console coming out called the PlayStation. This is me. This is dyslexic me who didn't even know I was bloody dyslexic when I was at school. It was only later on I found out I was. But yeah, I was like, there's a console coming out called the PlayStation. Can you believe it? And then showed my friend's magazine and I was like, no, it's the PlayStation. And yeah, I was always mocked for quite some years about the PlayStation that's coming out.
Everyone's got one of those stories. Tell you, I'm still a big fan of Alan Storm. Telling you.
A couple of years between us, Eddie, we used to just go into school with porn. That's
yeah, well, we couldn't go to school, but there was some bushes around the corner that actually was a bit of a porn library, and we all knew about it. And it wasn't like we didn't bring it in; it was just there, ready for us.
It's all Mark Stash that.
I didn't use porn.
Stash in every town in UK. But yeah, like eventually, then I went. As Mark was saying, everyone was going for looking at the Sega Saturn because I was like, who are these imposters coming into my video game landscape, trying to pretend to be some video game makers? Because obviously Sony at the time, I only really knew them from like making record players and bloody TVs, and that was it. And so it was like, who are these imposters? So I was like, right, I'm sticking to Sega. And then all my mates got bloody PlayStations, didn't they? So I was like, getting games and loving it. I had Virtual Fighter. I was amazing, loved it. But like then everyone's getting Tekken and Ridge Racer. Oh man, that was the one that really blew my mind. And I was like, even though I love Sega Rally and I probably love Sega Rally more, just because of the nostalgia, that really turned my head. But yeah, I think like you guys, no one had a memory card, and none of my friends had memory cards, and all fell into that trap. But because I got one a year later, I was prepared. I had a memory card with my system. But yeah, with my Sega Saturn, you didn't need a memory card. It was all inbuilt memory. So it was not something I ever needed to think about back in the day.
I was going to say, most of the time, we didn't really worry about memory cards when we were playing stuff, simply because we were too poor for the games and only played demos.
To be fair, the PlayStation demo scene was pretty fantastic.
I spent hours and hours with that dinosaur on the PlayStation 1 demo disc. Yes. You know what I mean? Because on that disc, you got that Actua Golf, and there was a couple of other games, but it was that dinosaur. I just spent hours with a 3D
Was it the one
dinosaur.
that you fight at the end of Astrobot?
Yeah, it's at the end of Astrobot, yeah.
So I have a question for the three of you then, because I was a Nintendo kid. I'll hold my hands up when I was, I ended up with a Mega Drive at one point, but I was NES and then SNES. Do you think PlayStation was the birth of Nintendo becoming everybody's second console? Because let's face it now. Nintendo is big, and I'm not saying anything against them, but everybody who has a Switch also generally has an Xbox or a PlayStation console of that generation.
I don't think it has anything to do. I don't think it has anything to do with PlayStation and Sony. I think it's to do with Nintendo just like thinking they were too big for their boots and cutting ties with people and not making their stuff friendly for the developers.
Fair enough.
They've only just clawed it back really now, and they.
Sorry, what was the question? I went off.
I'm asking. Do you think the PlayStation? I'm not saying PlayStation is the cause of it, but do you think PlayStation was the time where Nintendo became everybody's second console? Because you had Sega and you had Nintendo, and they were fighting it out all the time. You had other people, but they were by the by. And then Sony came out to play with the PlayStation, and PlayStation wasn't massively. It was revolutionary, but it wasn't. You know, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Nintendo 64 did all the 3D platform stuff first? But do you think that PlayStation kind of was the turning point for everybody to have Nintendo as their second console?
I think Ross is right there. I think Nintendo just did too many wrong turns. And yeah, PlayStation was there to capitalize because they was doing everything right. So they were just going in the right trajectory, and Nintendo was going like that. And then by the time we came out, it was like, fuck it, let's just go our own completely different way. Because if you think the N64 was quite a powerhouse, it was just done differently than everything else. And then you had the GameCube, which is actually more powerful than the PlayStation 2, but the CDs were just too small to make big, immense, immersive games.
Well, that's the same thing with the N64, isn't it? That it had the power to do it, but it didn't have the space to have the games to use.
What you got to remember is when the PlayStation 1 came out, there's that famous thing where he just comes out, was it $299, and then he walks off. CD players were still really expensive. You know, they were £150, £200 when we were like 13, 14. So you're getting a games console and a CD player. So that sold the PlayStation 1. And then when the PS2 came out with the DVDs, it was pretty much, it was a bit more than a normal DVD player. And you're getting the console as well. That's what sold the PlayStation brand to start off with. Obviously, you've got all the great games in that as well.
They tried it again with the PS3, but it didn't work as well at the beginning. It did pay off in the end, but with the Blu-rays...
I'm just curious because I think despite which side of this whole fake console war that everybody thinks is going on, I think we would all agree that we have a Nintendo console as our second console.
Yeah.
I have a Switch. I have a PlayStation 4 probably as my second console as well. But that's
my PS4 is my second console, but
you've got a Switch, haven't you? And you would,
yeah.
How dare you? How dare you?
In my living room, I've got the Series S, and I have a Switch. I don't play on the Switch as much. Laura does, but you know, it's.
To be honest, I think Dylan made a good point here. Marketing for PlayStation was all the difference. Changed perceptions of what a console was, and it really was, because back before that there was just a niche console. There was marketing, but it wasn't like aggressive marketing, where Sony came in from an outside perspective and had like marketing budgets and stuff like that. And there was putting like, I mean, I can remember going to like nightclubs and there was like PlayStations around the nightclubs, and it was just like there was just bringing them into all the places that was like cool to be seen by non-gamers, and it was making everyone like fall in love with it. I mean, if you think about Wipeout and stuff like that, that was like bringing big name DJs and putting them onto like a soundtrack, so people be coming over to listen to that. And Tony Hawk as well. I mean, yes, it was on the N64, but whoever talks or whoever says, "Oh yeah, Tony Hawk on the N64," no one does. It's all about the PlayStation.
It was my version, the N64 one.
I was going to say,
what's the soundtrack like on it then? I've not actually played it on there.
It does have a soundtrack. It's just very compressed, and I'm pretty sure it loops more as like samples looping. Yeah. If I remember rightly, I can't remember. Or it might just have like 2 songs very compressed.
Yeah, I know when you take the wrestling games into consideration, the soundtrack differences between the two are immense. You got not the best soundtracks on the original PlayStation, but you know, it was better than the N64 wrestling games.
The soundtrack, yeah, but the games were better on the N64 than the PlayStation.
Yeah. Well, the first SmackDown game was out on the PlayStation, so I would argue differently.
So yeah, I did love SmackDown, and then I moved to WrestleMania, and it was, I don't know, it was so much slower. But
so then I would, yeah. If you were to go that route, the gameplay is so much better on the Xbox than it is on the SmackDown vs. Raw on PlayStation 2. But we're not here to talk about that again. But then the games aren't as fulfilling, I don't think, because at least Raw didn't have a career mode, and SmackDown vs. Raw had a career mode, and it was so much better.
The career mode in SmackDown 2 was awesome. I did love that, to be honest with you.
To be fair, the last decent wrestling game that I ever played was WWF, the arcade game. That was fantastic.
So glad you didn't say Battlegrounds. That's
well, oh man, Battlegrounds, I'm like, on an outsider looking in, it felt like that sort of like WWF arcade, but done a bit more modern.
Shit.
Oh, I know, yeah. Well, I know that now, but it was a lost opportunity there. I think it would have got more people like myself that wanted to have like relive that insane, silly, over the top sort of like wrestling.
The best one, Eddie, mate, is All Stars on the PS3 and the 360. It's an arcadey one. It's really good. It's like over the top. You do like pile drivers where you go up to the ceiling and come down and special moves. Yeah, it's really, really
good. I was going to say that's probably the best arcadey one.
Is it?
I didn't mind Legends of WrestleMania as well for being a bit arcadey.
Easy platinum.
It is.
Cool, might try that. But yeah, anyway, PlayStation month. Shall we get into it then? So, obviously, I think what we're going to be doing now, from the now on, we're going to be doing every 3 months. We're going to theme a month. It started off with the Xbox in January, and now we're in the PlayStation month. So yes, we're going to be doing it, like I say, I think indefinitely now. I think it's quite cool. It's getting a lot of us to play our backlogs, and we're all we're all tackling it in different ways, and it's great to see a few people here that have done a bit of PlayStation month themselves. We've got Red 7, who has been doing a bit of a PlayStation month themed sort of like pickups and just quite good videos actually.
It was his PS1 memories, wasn't it? The other day, it was really good.
Exactly, yeah, and but again, totally different than what like probably some of us have been doing as well. Retro Bear, he's been going through the whole generations, playing PlayStation 1. Not complete. I mean, the thing is, that's it. A lot of us here are like completionists, so we're going to go and try and complete the games, but not everyone's a gamer the same way. We don't do it all the same way. So it's quite cool to see how everyone's tackled PlayStation month. I know James Basabi James, who's probably not quite awake yet. He's been streaming a few PlayStation games on the PlayStation 2. He's been doing a lot of racing games, and he said he was going to be doing a bit of like PlayStation repairs as well, which was going to be part of it. I was hoping he was going to do a video, but the bastard is just this. He's a dirty streamer now. Dirty streamer. But yeah, I think we've tackled it quite well, except maybe Paul, but we'll find out that later on. So Ross, how did you take on PlayStation month? I know you're in between. You're more of an Xbox gamer, but I mean, look at your room. You are basically. I think you're just a gamer in general, aren't you?
Yeah,
so,
I just buy shit, don't I? Right.
So what was your remit? How did you want to take it on then?
Well, basically, I just thought I'd look at my collection and think I'll play something. If I like the look of it, something I thought it's been sat there a while, I'll give it a go. So my intention was to do something from every generation, every console. I didn't get that far. I got kind of more hooked on the PS4, playing things and going for platinum trophies. And I did 2 PS2 games, so I didn't get too far into the other generations. But yeah, did you want me to say what I've played so far, or are we going to do one each? How are we going to do this?
Yeah, we'll go around and we'll talk about how we tackled it, and then talk about a game. So yeah, do you want to show us your first game? So,
all right, I'll go for one of the PS2 ones, which I know I'm going to show. It's something you also played as well, I know, Eddie. So, which freakishly we ended up playing at the exact same time, didn't we?
I can't remember. Yeah.
Literally, I sent a photo in the group saying that I was playing this, and you just booted it up, hadn't you?
Yeah.
It's just, I'm a big fan of racers, and I thought I'll give it a shot. Everyone always says it's really good. Cell shaded Capcom street racer game, basically. But it's a bit wrong. The one that all the Americans say is really good is a revised version of this with more tracks.
Okay.
So this version only has like 6 tracks. So I sat there and played through about half of the career, and it was just getting repetitive. There isn't that many cars in it either. So, but for a quick pick up and play, have a bit of a laugh kind of racing game, it's good fun. But
How
other
do
than
you
that,
find the handling of it?
it's all right. Apart from the downhill and uphill course, that had some corners that, like, even with the handbrake, they were hard to get around. Other than that, I had no issues. I felt like you'd need to brake for a lot of the stuff, but if you were to brake too much, you'd be seriously penalised and you'd lose. So it's basically like foot to the floor, attempt to get around everything. But yeah, I did enjoy it. It's one of the only out of a couple of the ones I didn't finish, only because it got really repetitive. So
yeah, I mean, I only really tested it. Really, I didn't put in up like lots of time in it, but it was such a stunning game, to be honest. Like,
it looks good.
I think
it
I would
holds
love
up
to
because of the
see.
cell shaded graphics.
Yeah, I'd love to have seen another, like a sequel to that. It's a shame that they didn't really come back and do a bit more with it, to be fair.
Yeah, everyone on the internet always raves. I've had people say compare it to like a cell shaded Gran Turismo, and it's nowhere near. It's just a cell shaded arcade racer, but yeah. It is good. It is good, but it's one of those games. If you find it for like five quid, it'd be a good bit of fun, but not 15, 20 quid that it's going for now. So.
Yeah, no, that's it. I mean, I said it when I picked it up. It's getting quite expensive now. When I used to see it was like a five, like you said, it was a $5 all day long, and I'm kind of missed it. And it was now becoming 15, 20, and I was like, do I really want to pay that much money for a racer that I'm? Because with racers, like, I just put them on, have a quick go, and then move on to the next one. So when you're paying 20 quid, you don't want to be doing that, do you? Really?
Yeah, I love racers, and if it's one that sucks me in, I'll play it for hours. Like the amount on the Xbox I've played for like 100+ hours is crazy. So.
Yeah. So Paul, PlayStation month. You're an Xbox guy, as you're the token Xbox guy. How did you take on PlayStation month this month?
So similarly, I wanted to have a go at the 4 generations that I have, not including the handheld. So my PlayStation month was cut slightly short because I went away with Al, as we're all aware. So there was, I think it was cut short by 3 days. So I didn't touch a PlayStation 2 game, unfortunately. However, I think the majority, should we say a couple of the games were put forward by you as a Sony pony and the actual Sony pony underneath you on my screen. So the first game I tackled was Heavenly Sword, though, which was very, very good when I turned off the silly six-axis controls. Yeah, I turned that off. It was brilliant. Absolutely. I didn't realize you could turn it off. I didn't know that was an option. So I was playing it and trying to work out how to get the control to move in the right directions. The minute I turned it off, I had a blast. It was absolutely fantastic. Great story. I would say that probably there's certain elements of it that didn't need to be there. But overall, it was Ninja Theory that did it, wasn't it? And you could see the beginnings of Ninja Theory's ability to tell a story reasonably well. I did enjoy it. I thought it was good.
It's Andy Serkis or whatever as well, isn't it? From Gollum.
Andy Serkis is, here it is. Surprisingly, my PlayStation stuff is quite close to me. So yeah, it's Andy Serkis who plays the bad guy. The voice acting in it, all the cutscenes and the acting in it is great. It wasn't. Was it massively difficult? Not really, but that's not what I wanted. It was a great story-driven game.
Fucking Tommy.
Tommy, why did you come on here? Talk about PlayStation.
But it was it was a good start to PlayStation Month, and I personally think I've done reasonably well for PlayStation Month, but that's just my take on it.
So how far did you get? You didn't complete it, did you? Now?
Yeah. Completed.
Oh, you completed it. Okay.
Every PlayStation game I played, I completed.
Oh, okay.
So that's. I wanted to at least do all the story. I've not completed all the trophies for anything that has trophies. But I wanted to at least beat the story on everything that I played.
Heavenly Sword hasn't got the trophies, has it? It's one of the early ones.
It's one of the early releases.
Yeah.
It's got that. Doesn't that mean it doesn't?
Not all of them, but that's an early. It was one of the early games anyway.
Yeah, they retroactively added quite a few trophies, didn't they?
Yeah, like Uncharted and stuff. They went back and give that trophies, but
yeah, GTA 4 they did it with as well, didn't they? I think.
Yeah, and
for once it didn't need trophies. The game itself, if you've not played it, go and play it. It's good. I'm not, I wouldn't. Obviously, I wouldn't bum up a Sony game if I didn't think it was really good, but it is really good, and I'm taking the piss there. It is a very good game, and I would recommend people play it, especially Al, who, when we were talking about this, said he was going to play it, and I don't think he's done anything with it.
Well, I was going to say that to you because I'm at the start of it, because we've got a bit of a group going on. The group is actually called Make Al Play PlayStation, and I think that's the only game he actually played, isn't it?
Oh, did he? I don't think he played it, did he? I don't think he played any PlayStation. Well, that's the problem.
He did a picture with it on the splash screen, and that's probably as far as he went.
Yeah.
I think basically he just put a load of games in to see if they work so he could sell them. I think that was his PlayStation month.
One thing he doesn't play with is his dinner, innit? He playing with that's straight down the neck.
So, Mr. Sony Pony, did you get your backlog done, or did you just carry on with the modern stuff?
I got caught up in two little waves of Resident Evil and then Platinum games. So I did three of each from them. But because I did 12 games that I'm counting, but it was 15, but there were ones I've already done in the year. Like I did Elden Ring, I went for that again, and Bloodborne and Sekiro again. But 12 new ones that I hadn't done before or done on the PS4. So the first one I did in the month was Lollipop Chainsaw. That was a backlog one that I wanted to get to. It's a lot more style over like how good the controls are and stuff. But it was still a lot of fun for 5 hours. I did really enjoy it.
And everyone needs to have the upskirt achievement on their gamer tag.
I couldn't get it. She kept putting her hands around her arse, and I couldn't get the trophy. I tried.
All the practice you've had as well. I thought you'd have been straight up there.
I did try.
On the internet looking for free cam hacks.
But yeah, I did really enjoy it. I thought the controls and the camera angle really let it down. Did let it down. That was the big thing. But it was fun for 5 hours. I enjoyed it. I just sat down one afternoon and smashed that one out. And then
smashing something out. That's it might be Red Raw.
But the Resi one. Someone asked before in the chat, I think it might have been Raz, like the favorite Resident Evil game. I did Resident Evil 3, Code Veronica, and to the Resident Evil 4 remake. I did all them this month. And as a Resident Evil game, I'd say Code Veronica was my favorite out of them. But as a game, Resi 4, I know that's cliche to say that it's not like a real Resi, but it doesn't feel like a real Resident Evil game. But the remake...
It's not really. It's the new style, isn't it?
Yeah. But the remake, they said they're going back to... They're making, the village, they're going to do it at night time and stuff like that and have it all more spooky than the original. So that should be good.
Oh, see, I don't want to do that. I liked the idea. It was light and it was different.
Yeah, I mean, I've not played before, but I like that because every other Resident Evil game is dark and dismal. It'd be nice to have the idea that something that, because if you watch zombie films and you watch zombie TV shows, they don't just come out at night. It's not like a vampire. apart from Blade, obviously, because he's a daywalker. But I like the idea of Resident Evil during the day. It'd be interesting.
Play 5 then. That's in Africa, broad daylight the entire time, I think.
Yeah, it's shit.
I need to go back to
It's
that
good
as
if
well.
you play it in 2-player. It's shit if you play it on your own.
Yeah. Well, I played with my ex, and she fucking.
That's why she's your ex after you made her play
Exactly. She couldn't figure out how to use like the direction, like the camera controls. She was just going forward and just like not understanding how to turn around. I was like, fuck's sake. That just went stewing up. I played it recently on a PS3, and oh man, I'm not really a frame rate person, but Jesus Christ, the frame rate was terrible. It was just like I just couldn't play it. It was just so choppy.
It is actually the only Resident Evil game I've got on the PlayStation. I own it on 360 as well, but yeah.
I was in Smith's with the wife the other day, and they had one of the one-up arcades, and there was a Pac-Man, and it was the first time in her life she'd played Pac-Man, and she's 43. She'd never played Pac-Man in her life. So that's mental, isn't it? You know what to think.
So when we were at Blackpool, and Eddie will tell you, we got in on the Friday night arcade. Laura had more fun playing on the arcades than I did. I just walked around and had a few beers and talked to people. She loved it.
To be fair, I'd imagine Big Game Al's probably first time experience of Pac-Man was when we did that 4-player Pac-Man at Arcade Club. I bet he's never played it before.
I can't wait for Arcade Club again. I won't get back on that Sonic the Hedgehog basketball game.
Oh, what's that? Is that new?
It was there last time we were there, but it was I think it was on one of the lower floors just as you come through the door. It's a proper basketball game. You got to actually throw the basketballs. I was melting playing it. It was horrible.
Oh, right.
Stupid warm in the Arcade Club at the time.
Yeah. No, I do remember, but I just couldn't remember it being Sonic. I thought it was like some special like Sonic theme where Sonic would run up or something.
No, nothing special. Yeah. It was a Sonic art.
When you started saying it was hot and sweaty, I was thinking, yeah, I remember that now. It was like a couple of baskets, and I was like, I'm ready to walk off now. I'm just.
Well, the basket was blue. They should have been blue.
I think they were. I'll take pictures. I'll take pictures next week.
Yeah, we'll have to take some towels as well just to wipe the sweat. Talking about Arcade Club Saturday, everyone's welcome. There's going to be quite a few of us there. So if you want to come up, we're going to be there probably midday to quite late, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be there mid-afternoon because obviously I've got to go and get beaten up in the morning. But other than that, yeah, definitely.
Ross is coming down. He just doesn't know about it yet. Let's say coming up into it.
Sure.
Well, because I live up here, like everything's down. Everything that I want to go to is down. Sorry about that, Mike. But yeah, everything I want to go to is like usually south. But yeah,
you're screwed for the northern road trip then, because everything's north.
To be honest, I am really looking forward to that workshop. It's going to be quite good.
I want to go to Yorkshire to see if everyone talks to teddy bears or it's just a few people.
No,
I've just got this image of everyone on the street just talking to teddy bears.
That's just in Wakefield.
All right.
Yeah, Wakefield is a very special place, gotta say.
It is very special.
But yeah, PlayStation month. So I basically want, how Ross was saying, I wanted to do one of every generation. I want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I wanted to do PSP and Vita. I think, in fact, we all had a bit of a pile that we wanted to tackle, and I think I did about half of it, halfway. So yeah, the first game, Pippa Funnel, Ranch Rescue.
Are you big game out in disguise?
Well, yeah, it's all complete, you know. That's all I've got to say about it. I don't know. Yeah, there's a horse game. No, I did put it in quickly because I think we talked about it on TMB one day. But yeah, even though we was big up, hyped up the PlayStation month came, and honestly, I think it took me about 2 weeks to actually start playing any kind of games. I was pretty much doing like decorating, going out, trying to become fit. And plus I've been working like 10 plus hours every day this month. So I've not really had much gaming time. But the first game I actually completed was Thousand Arms on the PlayStation 1. So actually, this isn't the first game I've completed, is it? I'll go back to that. I'll have to go grab it in a second. But this is the second game that I completed. I wanted to also try to do American, Japanese as well. I wanted to kind of dip into all of my backlog that I've kind of been. Yeah.
I'm going to ask a new question. Is this related to Enchanted Arms in any way, shape, or form? Just
I
because
don't think so. I think it's quite a few. It's quite a few generations apart. But this game,
it's from software, isn't it? Enchanted Arms.
Wasn't there Enchanted Arms on PlayStation? There's an Arms game on PS Classic on the Mini. I can't remember. I thought that was Enchanted Arms.
Enchanted Arms is on the PS3. It's from software.
You carry on talking. I'll find out what game I'm thinking of.
Yeah. So
are you talking about Wild Arms?
Yeah. Wild Arms.
Wild Arms. No, yeah, it's a totally different game. Totally different. But yeah, no, it's same generation. I'm not too sure if I played this on like my backups back in the day, because I did play quite a few RPGs. But yeah, like I was really looking forward to this. Like the artwork in the back was just like kind of drew me in. So basically, what this is an RPG, and it plays a lot different than what I was expecting. It's got a really interesting mechanic on this as well, where it's part RPG, part dating sim, and the dating sim is where it becomes fucking strange, because the dating sim is how you make your sword stronger.
Just sit there waxing it.
So you kind of like have like levels of like all these girls that you kind of like pick up, and like you have like what do they call it, like the intimacy levels. You have different intimacy levels, and the each level, when you're like forging your swords and stuff like that, you use their intimacy level to get different like magic and stuff. So like you have to kind of like, you get to like level 1, forge your sword, and then start like leveling, going for more dates, and then making your sword a bit stronger and stronger, and go for more dates, buying them some presents and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a very interesting RPG. But oh my god, the bits where they like talk and stuff like that, the cutscenes, they're absolutely stunning. Like it goes from like the 3D graphics sort of like top-down RPG-esque normal stuff, but then it goes into sort of like it's got like this really cool transition where it goes into the cutscenes, and then it becomes like an anime style, like really beautiful. Oh, it's a really cool game, but like as well, like the turn-based aspect of it is again very strange. It's like you have one character at the front, and then you have two behind you. And it's only the guy at your front is doing the attack. The other are just there to support, like to give you like health or like kind of give you some buffs and stuff like that. And yeah, I've never played a game like it in my life. Forget about the dating sim. It's just like the way that the turn-based works. Very easy. Like it's one of them games where when you first go into the world, you start getting your ass kicked at every battle. But then once you like get through a couple, and then you start doing your grind, which to be honest, it's not very grindy. It's quite easy. You don't have, I actually overpowered myself quite easy, and I was just blasting through the game up to the point I got to the last stage. The last boss. And I was just kind of like mindlessly sort of like going through it, because the boss before the last boss, I beat with like 4 hits, and I felt like so overpowered. So when I got to the last boss, I was like, this is going to be a doddle. No, it fucking kicked my ass. So I kind of like got a bit frustrated about it, and then played a couple of other games, and then went back to it and just did like about 4 hours of grinding, and then just fucking kicked his ass and beat the game. It's a really good game. Probably not worth what it is worth, but for an RPG, this is really cool. Definitely. This is a good starter RPG. If you're into RPGs, this will be thinking about getting into RPGs, this will be quite a good one to start with.
How long is it? Because a lot of the PS1s are like 30, 40 hours, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was about 25 hours. I got to the last boss, but then, like I say, I put another few more hours, so probably about 30 hours.
Yeah.
What you just described isn't something limited to that generation, though, because on Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I think it's Valhalla. I massively overpowered myself. I did all the side quests and did everything. No, it wouldn't have been Valhalla. It'd been the one before it. Did loads of stuff. Built myself up like super powered, and then beat every boss several times. And sorry, but yeah, it's nothing new to that old. So it's not limited to that older generation. That.
Oh no, yeah, no, definitely. It's any kind of where there's like any kind of leveling up, you get that, don't you? Sometimes, and I'm assuming the Dark Souls games are very similar to that as well.
Yeah, so obviously I've played them that many times. Now I'll do it where I can't go over level 50 and stuff like that.
Okay.
Just to make it more challenging.
I only play RPGs over leveling. I sit there and grind until I'm just like some kind of badass and just wipe through everything. It's the only way I play them.
But there is RPGs where you can't, like, it kind of penalizes you for that, because like the more you grind, the more the enemies around you get fucking overpowered themselves, and it makes it actually harder.
To be honest, you can't do it in Oblivion and stuff, can you? Because the enemies level up with you. So I never really understood the point in the level,
don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, that was the good thing about the Lord of the Rings games, the ones on the 360 and the Xbox One. They when you beat, even if you were overpowered, when you beat the boss, if you died, you had to go back and fight it again, and the boss was at a higher level than you then, and it made it a lot more difficult, I guess, although it wasn't massively difficult.
One of the games, funny enough, I played this month. I played on the PS3 when it first came out, Bayonetta, and I think I must have played it on easy on the PS3. And this time I played it on medium and on hard, and it was so much more fun playing it at the higher levels, because I didn't just have to press square to kill all the enemies. I had to learn moves and the dodging. I think difficulty can actually make a game more fun the higher you have it.
Definitely.
I found that going for achievements and stuff, I found that a lot, that it will be beat the game on hard, so I'll go for it on hard, and it was the perfect difficulty where you had to actually think. And if I'd played through the game on like easy, it'd be like that was a bit of a cakewalk, it's a bit shit. But yeah,
you just press the square.
Difficulty makes it.
Yeah.
If it's a game I wanted to get 1000 G on, and one of the achievements was play it on hard, I would start on hard. And then, because it's going to be a cakewalk if you can be on hard, I guess.
A lot of games, though, the normals, you can only play on normal, then you unlock hard and hardcore, don't you? Yeah, that's the.
To be fair, I don't think I've ever beat a game on hard since like when I was a youth playing like Mega Drive and SNES, where I would actually go on to hard. But like now I'm older, I'm like, I love a challenge, but I don't want to be challenged too much. I like to be able to.
What I see you do on the shoot 'em ups, I couldn't do.
Yeah, I couldn't do that either.
Do you know what I mean? So it's just whatever style of game.
But that's just repetition. That's more repetition. It's like if you saw my stream when I was playing shooters the other day, where I was playing games for the first time for a long time, I was absolutely terrible at them. But if the games that I've been playing for that month, because to be good at shooters, you've got to play them and learn them. Again, probably the same as Dark Souls. You got to learn them sort of like patterns and stuff. So like people say they're terrible at shooters, but that's because they're going from one game to the next and not learning the intricacies of that game.
But
I just want to bring this up as well. Birmingham Market tomorrow. So see you later, Ross, as well. I'm not going, unfortunately.
No, I'm not.
But hopefully, anyone who does, hopefully they have a good time, and I'm looking forward to the pickups.
Just don't drive in, because the stupid clean air zone's a pain in the fucking ass.
Yeah, there's some weird ones as well, close to the custard factory as well.
Yeah, I mean, I talking about the hard difficulty, things like the COD up until maybe Black Ops 2, I could beat the campaigns on hard. But then when the more modern ones came on, I've become more. I just want to play the story. I don't want to have to. I don't want to have to go out of my way to do other extra little things. I'd sooner just give me the story and let me play the story through. I don't want to play it on.
To be honest, there's nothing more satisfying than beating World at War on Veteran. It's like Grenade City. It's mental.
When it comes to hard though, like everyone knows, like I love Dark Souls and stuff like that. The boss battles, they're designed. That's the one difficulty in the design for it. I think a lot of problems with games, when they have a hard mode, basically they just give the enemy more. They just make them bullet sponges, and it's not actually makes the game more fun. But the likes of Bayonetta, where you haven't used the skill moves, and it honestly just made it so much better playing at this time.
It's something like Platinum Games excels at, though.
Yeah. Doing all them fancy witch moves, which I didn't really do in the first time because I didn't have to. I just pressed square to win. I think it was years ago. I can't really remember, but
yeah, to be honest, talking about Platinum, how they excel at that kind of stuff. I'm playing a Platinum game at the moment, Astral Chain, and
it's amazing.
I was just like, you kind of like get into like a bit of a flow, and then they change it up by adding an enemy that you only can beat by like disabling it in a certain way by using a special move. And I was just there but sometimes with me, I kind of put blinkers on, and that's why I'm rubbish at stories, because sometimes I'm just like going all out, not really thinking, looking at my phone or something like that. And something must have come up to go, this is how you beat this enemy. And I just like missed it, and I was like, why the fuck can I not kill it? I had to like look up like what's going on. I was like, oh, you've got to disable this like machine over here because it's linked to that, and you've got to disable their Astral Chain to do that or something. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty. Once you know how to do it, it's like, oh, that's pretty cool.
I did Metal Gear Solid Rising, then I did Vanquish, then I did Bayonetta in the 3 days. And by the end, my hands were just killing. I thought they were going to fall off.
Well, Vanquish was my first game of the Xbox month in January. I loved it. I thought it was great. It's a great game. I'm so glad it got a remaster, because it was great to play on the 360, and I didn't put it in on my Xbox One. So I want to play it again on my Xbox One, because it's a brilliant game.
Yeah, these were the remasters.
Can you remember when you was a kid and like you used to go to like the weddings, you used to be bored up until the point that all the adults were off the floors and you'd be sliding on your knees? That is basically the game of that.
Yeah.
I used to ruin so many suits. I ruined a suit in my 30s doing that on the dance floor.
So I'm glad I didn't have my suit jacket on, but when I got when I was at my award do the other night, I did a forward roll, a rolling break fall. I was unsteady as hell getting up, but yeah, I'm so glad I didn't have my suit jacket on, because I'd have ruined my suit doing that, and it was a brand new suit. So, but yeah, no, the stuff that Vanquish was amazing. Was that I think that was the first one on a modern system, wasn't it, from Platinum? On 360.
It was the first out of them three, definitely. Yeah. I honestly think Bayonetta was the best out of the three of them. I really enjoyed it again.
I played Bayonetta on the 360, but I've got it on the Wii U with Bayonetta 2, and I want to play both of them at some point, which maybe we'll talk about later.
Yeah. I need to play the second one before the third.
The next game, what did you do? Did you go change generations or?
I'm not doing these in the order that I did them. It's just the order I've stacked them. So the next one, I'll do my other PS2 game I played, which was Cool.
You're just showing that to wind me up, aren't you?
No, honestly, it's been sat in my backlog for so long. I thought I've got to do it. I've got to do a survival horror on the PS2 that I haven't done. And
show us the manual. Go on, be dirty. Show us the manual.
It's got a sticker on it. Yeah, this is actually my favorite From Software game I've played now. I really liked this. you can tell it was like right at the end of the PS2 like life cycle because of the controls for it. They're way more modern for survival horror, kind of the same way that Rule of Rose is, but that's shit. So, but yeah, it's a strange game. It's got a really weird story. So like it's about a Kuon ritual where these mulberry trees give off these silkworms which bring people back from the dead. But it's for a survival horror game. It's long. You have to do 3 playthroughs to see the whole story.
That's what put me off it, really. Not put me off it, but like kind of disappointed me a little bit.
Well, I did the first playthrough, then I got to the second. I was like, it's pretty much the same again, but then it does go off on a pretty big tangent of like where it's going. I would recommend people play it. Do not buy it for the value it is. All these games never do that.
I was about to say that the thing that put me off it is the price of it. When I saw you playing it, I looked at how much it was to buy, and it was like,
mine still has the price on it that I paid for it, which is on the manual, which is $49.95, but in euros. So,
Ross, what does it go for now for the benefit of anybody else that tunes in?
Between 300 and 400.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you think about it, it's only £133 per playthrough.
It is.
Okay. Not that bad.
Is that how you're selling it to the missus, Mike?
I think I might.
Honest, if you can find it for a good price, play it. If not, copy it and play it. Like there's somebody near me on Facebook that's always selling copies of it, and they've done a real good job. So, and they do it for 20 quid each, and apparently they come with the memory card that makes it boot. So on unmodified systems, which I don't know how that happens because I didn't know you could boot discs through a memory card. I thought you had to use.
You can free McBoot in it.
Yeah, but free McBoot, I thought you had to do like ISOs and stuff off of other like hard drives and stuff. I've never.
No.
I've never
the
looked
only
into
thing
how
you can't do is import games. You can do CDRs, but you can't do import games, which is strange.
Okay. Yeah, okay, that might be where I'm getting confused because.
But you can use CDR. You can get CDR import games, but just not official import. Weird.
Yeah, but yeah, it is a really good game. It's a good survival horror. I actually wanted to see what it was rated when it came out, and it was panned, absolutely panned. It's also surprisingly easy for survival horror. Like you get a ton of health, and like each person has a weapon. One has like a fan and stuff. But most enemies you can just beat down pretty quick. But you get these scrolls which give you different abilities, like spawning things that help you kill stuff or shoot fireballs. And you get so many, you can just unleash hell on the enemies. So it's very easy. But
well, you really don't need to use them until you get to like a boss anyway, do you?
Yeah.
Because you can hit them 3 times and then they die.
Yeah. Or unless a lump of flesh.
I think I used health regen once. The rest of the time I just stood there because you get like an ability where you press like a shoulder button and you just stand there.
It's like R1 or something, isn't it? Yeah.
But that doesn't use anything up to do it. So it's like all these health packs are for nothing really. It's only for when you're in a fight and you want to do it.
It's weird.
Yeah.
But it's
still
a good game. I genuinely enjoyed it. Like out of all the From Software stuff I've played, that's the one I've enjoyed the most. Which probably
I would have preferred if you just said it was shit.
Well, put it this way: out of all the big hitter PS2 horror games, it's probably the best one, easily.
Yeah, I've not played Rule of Rose yet, but I'm kind of not. To be honest, I didn't realize there was a dog section in it, so it's made me want to play it a bit sooner than Hollow.
You have the dog the entire time. The whole game is you show like you've got a dog and you show it stuff, and your dog becomes your waypoint to go find the next item. So it's you're just following a dog as a waypoint, but there's no enemies in the game until you get to a point. Then you'll have to walk back through, and you get the same enemy, which will stun lock you till you're dead. It's painful.
It's because if one's 200 to 300, I imagine Rule of Rose is 4 to 5.
Kill one is either matched it or overtaken it now.
Okay.
I think it's above it. I think Rule of Rose is more expensive.
But if you want to get the
on
UK
CEX,
Rule of
I
Rose,
think,
it's like a
but-
grand.
Yeah.
When do we get it?
Yeah, because when we were on me and Al and Sean were away, Sean was looking at in a shop at Real Rose. This is, I think it was $4.50, but that was for the Italian version.
Yeah.
Was it
But if you get a
That's one
UK
that we
edition, it's about a grand.
£450 for a PlayStation 2 game? Fuck off.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't pay that for it.
That's just my opinion. I don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
I've got one that's worth about a grand. And do you know what? I actually nearly sold it. There was on Facebook the other day. There was a Candy Cab arcade machine for sale just around the corner from me, and I was like, "Fucking buying that now!" And I was like 10 minutes too late, and I was ready to sell that game. That game was going to go for me to fund for that arcade machine, but yeah, I was so close, but so far.
That's. I don't. I just.
I thought I'd double check the CEX prices of them. Kill one's $350. Rule of Rose is up to $480.
I don't buy stuff to expect it to go up. So
Oh no, I bought these years ago.
I also buy at the wrong time, as we all know, because I'm struggling to get hold of certain games that are through the roof on Xbox, but that's besides the point.
Well, that's it. I mean,
Still
you're
one
right
we
there.
can sort out
The
for
thing is, there's a lot of speculation. The people are buying these games that people have heard of as being expensive as speculation, and it's brought the price up. And I don't know how anyone thinks going to make money by spending something that was like half the price a year ago, because it's obviously unnaturally inflated. So it just makes no sense for a speculator to spend that much money.
You look at the PS3 prices, how quick they've dropped.
Yeah.
Well, on the Xbox, the original Xbox, there is only one game that I expect to keep its value, and me and Ross spoke about this game a while back, and Ross, if he's ever going to part with it, I would like to be the person that he parts with it for, and that, you know, and that's just purely because it's a massive piece of hardware with 2 games that are attached to it. Steel Battalion.
It's a good game, though.
I haven't played it because I've
Goldie
never.
just showed that off last week, didn't he?
Yeah, he got it in credit. He never said what he paid for it. It'd be interesting to see.
But if you look at you know, Stubbs, that was £70. Then they did the remaster, and it dropped down to £30-40 within a week.
Yeah,
So if you bought Stubbs and then they bought a remaster.
I mean, I got Stubbs a week. I picked Stubbs up at 20. Well, I didn't pick it up. I pieced it together at 22 quid. But things like Jet Set Radio Future are creeping up. It's gone from 32. It went to 40 and then 48, and it's now at 52 at CEX.
Well, look at Pompey Games. He bought that what's it called, Mega Games Free for the Mega Drive for 500 quid, because he was actually selling for 500 quid around that time, because it was just sort of like hype. People was hyping it up about 8 years ago. I think I
don't even know whether
you paid 500 quid for it. It's worth about 80 now. So that's it. That people keep going on about all the prices and only going one way. They're really not. It's if everyone's talking about it, it's going to go one way until everyone realizes actually it's not.
Until you look at bricks and mortar and things like that, that's where value actually stays. The plastic that we trade, the value doesn't stay there, in my opinion.
You tend to find the best games are cheap.
Yeah,
so Eddie,
most expensive are shit.
Yeah.
We're an hour and 23 minutes in, and we've done one game so far.
Right, so Paul, what game have you been playing?
Well, there happens to be a Geordie who's joined us who suggested that this game was the game of 2021. I think that's what he said.
It's definitely up there.
Yeah.
And I picked it up based on his recommendation. It sat on the shelf. Just I got this edition. Dylan says it's a really nice edition. I don't know. So I put it in, and it's a belting game. It's absolutely fantastic. The graphics for it are amazing. They're a throwback to what you would play in the old arcades. There's so much humor in it. hits on a lot of the vibes that I like, a lot of the film, a lot of the wrestling. There's like a Macho Man character, which was amazing. I played through I think either two of the assassins that were in it, and it has James Bond feels. It's a fantastic game, and if you've not played it, I highly recommend, if you own it, put it in now and play it. It's brilliant, and thanks to Mike, I wouldn't have bought it if he hadn't suggested it. I would never have even thought about it. It wasn't something. It's not green spined. I don't even know if it's on Xbox. It might be digitally, but it's not available physically, as far as I'm aware. But
who cares when you've got a nice, sexy box like that? I mean, look at it. It's satisfying just to open and close. I keep doing that every so often.
Just walk in the room and open and close the box and put it back.
But honestly, if you own Huntdown and you've not played it, put it in and play it. It is fantastic.
I mean, the thing is, I think a lot of people get like fed up of retro remakes, like sort of like retro inspired games, because they are just basically cut and paste jobs where they reuse assets and stuff like that. And even though they are really fun, I enjoy them because I enjoy games like that. There is actually only realistically a handful of games that use that aesthetic and then expand on it, and that's one of them games where, like, if you look through the levels, like all the levels are like there's bits that like are completely new on that bit compared to the next bit, and it's just so much effort has been put into like the level design and stuff like that makes it superior to a lot of games. It's just beautiful.
I like the throwback style games that if you play them, you knew that is where, if they'd stayed 2D, where they would have went with it. The ones that like push it more, not like, oh, we're stuck with these limitations. Fuck off, you're not. Just do something good with it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, those types of games, the ones that do it the best are the farming games, so the likes of Stardew and Graveyard Keeper and things like that. But this, hands down, it is immense. I really, I can't say, I really enjoyed it, and I really did. It was a brilliant game to play. It was annoying because you had to work out the patterns of the bosses, but even though it was annoying, it was fun because you had to work out those patterns, and you couldn't just annihilate the boss. It was brilliant. You could annihilate everybody else in the level, but when you got to the boss, you had to base the patterns, and sometimes the patterns changed. That was the other thing that I found that, I really enjoyed it. It was a great suggestion by Mike.
I do need to play that. It sounds good.
You should. It is really good. And if Dylan wants to see the box again, with some nice badges.
He showed off in his last pickups. He got it because of you.
Oh, did he buy it?
Yeah.
You know what? He said to me the other day, he was like, I played Huntdown the other day, but I didn't quite get into it. I was like, Dylan, what's up with you, man? Come on. It's because it's unsealed. He's not used to seeing a game like that.
Actually, I'm pretty sure I saw earlier, and was it Rock and Roller was talking about his Switch collection, and he didn't get on with it, I swear.
If I can get into it, he's just said, I think, Rock and Roller. If I can get into it, anybody can get into it, because I am a modern gamer, but this was just, I loved it. Everything about it was brilliant. The aesthetics, the characters, the story, all the cut scenes where you get the different Bond elements, and just the over the topness was immense. And I like to say, if it wasn't for Mark mentioning it in the groups, I would never have even thought about it. I'd never have picked it up in a lifetime.
It's a love letter to the 80s, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that's what you sold it me on. You said that it everything about it was about 80. It was a love letter to the 80s films. Everything was just hark back to everything that we had as kids.
Another
There's so many quotes that's used as well. like in either the weapons that you pick up or just one-liners that are used. It's like I'm surprised no one's gone and like tried to sue him for some of that. But
see, that's why I like Broforce, because it was like really everything you remembered growing up put into one game.
Fantastic.
Good fun.
I do like Broforce, but it's not Hunt Down. It's not got that
no.
like
it's
not got that
it's more like you play a double level and put it down. But...
I've got the physical of Broforce. It's shipping next week.
Oh, awesome.
Why would they re-released it or something? What do you mean?
No, it was from not Super Rare. It was from one of those. I ordered it last March and I still haven't got it yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But yeah, as a person who is more inclined to buy things on Xbox, that's the one thing that that really disappoints me about Xbox, in that I don't like limited run in terms of the way they do things, but a game like Hunt Down that could have had a print run on Xbox and would have sold, I think. It's just because Microsoft can't guarantee.
Limited run have been doing stuff for the Xbox now. They just haven't released anything.
But I don't think they will. I honestly don't.
They signed up to do stuff with them.
But I don't think they will, because I don't think the demand will be there for it, because
there'll definitely be a demand for it. People love that kind of limitedness, and the fact it's gone on to Xbox. People will be like, "This is the only limited stuff on Xbox."
But I don't.
I look at Xbox more as digital than physical lovers.
It is mainly now.
Yeah,
to be honest,
there's a game pack, and sort of PlayStation going to go that way, and we've had this conversation before. It is, and people don't want it to, and I don't want it to. I don't want anything to go digital all the way. It'd be nice to have a physical element, but even Hunt Down, that's not a limited run. That's a mainstream print. But there's certain things that got prints on. Didn't Medium get a print on PlayStation 4, and it didn't get a print on Xbox?
PS5 it did, yeah.
PS5, and it didn't get an Xbox print. You know, so many games that are.
It's weird because Medium was really hyped up for the Xbox as well. So I thought it was actually I'm sure I've seen like a placeholder in a store for Medium. So I'm sure it was planned to.
Yeah, there's just so many. That's the one thing about Sony that I really like. They are willing to allow. I'm not going to call it bloatware, because a game like that isn't bloatware, but they're willing to allow anything to be printed.
Yeah, but it's not so much that there's a minimum print run, and I think is it like 100,000 that Xbox have? It's
10,000.
Quite large.
What's 10,000?
It's 1,000 on PlayStation.
It's 10,000 on Play. I think it's 50,000 with Xbox.
It's 1,000 on PlayStation and 10,000 on Xbox.
Oh, 10,000 Xbox and 1,000 PlayStation.
Well, no, because there's some games that are like 600 prints for PlayStation. So where's the other 400?
If
there's some stuff on Xbox, I don't understand how it got a print run.
I know how they got that minimum. Don't worry, there's lots of people that's going to want this Princess game.
I would say, I would sooner have Hunt Down as a physical print on Xbox than some fucking Paw Patrol crap.
Yeah, but Al loves it, so there's a lot of people like Al that actually like lap it up.
Yeah.
I've just bought Paw Patrol off Al for the Switch. I generally have a couple of weeks ago. But
there's a reason.
I like a shit game though. I like a shit game.
No, I played it on Game Pass because it was easy 1000G, but I would sooner Hunt Down came as a physical than that got a physical and that got a physical release.
You know my daughter's favorite game. You'll like this, Paul. She loves Manhunt, not Manhunter. You know, the shark one.
Awesome game.
She just sharks, and she just likes going around with all the seals and that. It's the shark.
To be fair, I
honestly thought you were about Manhunt, and she loved people getting plastic bagged and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Like coming from like you, I would imagine that would have actually been right, Manhunt.
The worst thing is she came in my room the other day and pointed at she went, "There's Pennywise," and I was like, "How do you know who Pennywise is? You're 5." And she watched him. She's watched it on YouTube.
What?
clips of Pennywise on YouTube. Yeah, so I've got to be careful.
Chrissy's nephew was like 3 or 4, and he came in and went, "Chucky." Like,
yeah.
So I mean, I'm pretty anti-censorship when things like that are concerned. I don't care about horror. If they're going to watch it and be shit scared, that's their own outlook. I've got a 3 and 4-year-old nephew. Porn is the only thing I think that should be censored, but that's just it's down to me if I want to let my nephews watch.
Channel 5 late night movies okay.
Sorry?
Anything harder than a Channel 5 late night film's okay, but anything
You're
harder.
not your 5-year-old, surely.
Well, you are attracted to me anyhow. When I was a kid,
for me, it's up to you. If you wanted your 5-year-old to watch a horror film, then that's your outlook as a parent. Just the same as me, because I'd tell my brother to fuck off if he said I couldn't let them watch it. But if I wanted to let them watch something, I would. I think Laura would probably stop me letting them watch it. But that's different. Anyway, we're going off a tangent again.
This is just tangent stream.
Yeah, this has just been the tangent.
This is nearly 2 hours of tangent.
So, what have you been playing then? Oh yeah, Mark. Clockwise, yeah.
I played a game. I just saw it on the shelf. I was going to Alton Towers the next day, so I knew I only had about 8 hours to play a game. So I thought, oh, what roughly do I think I can get smashed out? And I'm sure it's a game loads of years ago on the shelf, and I haven't played Rogue Troopers.
Oh
so
yeah.
I played the remaster, but it came out on the PS2. It was one of the later releases.
I've got
that's it there, yeah. It's a really early base cover-based shooter, and it was absolutely brilliant. Like the story's really good, and I actually Googled it, and it's like a long line of comics, and I didn't even realize that from the guys that did Judge Dredd and stuff. Yeah. Is it Dark? No, Dark Horse.
Does it have any links to Gene Troopers?
I think so.
It was
That's
a
quite rare with
hidden gem, I believe. I'm pretty sure he announced it at one point as a hidden gem.
Who did?
To be honest, when I bought it, the guy in game was like, "You should buy this. This is like the best £4 you'll ever spend."
Honest, it is. I picked it up the remaster for about £5, and it was one of those I've just had on the shelf thinking, "Oh, I'll never play that." That's
in 2000 AD.
Yeah. And it is so good, and I'm sure most people have got it on the shelves and never played it. It's just over the top, like gore, blood, and it's just really, really good shooter. It's
when you mentioned it, I was going to play it, but I've got on Xbox, so I couldn't do it that month.
I
really enjoyed it, and I started watching stuff on YouTube about the backstory because it's quite cool. Backstory to it, isn't that as well?
Oh shit! I just realized I got the PS2 version. I could have done that one.
Are we all going to go YouTube?
Absolutely gorgeous, on the PS2, because I've got on the PS2 and I chucked it in just to see how they compared, and it's because it's a later release. It looks absolutely fantastic on the PS2. It looks more like an early PS3 360 game.
Awesome.
We'll definitely give that a go soon. To be honest, like after playing these games, I've actually been wanting to play more retro games coming up because like the backlog is actually ridiculous. And I want to play. I just want to get more games because I found that like a lot of the games from the PS3, PS2, PS1, I'm enjoying more than the modern games because the modern games are too safe. Even though they probably play better, like I don't know, there's something about them that just not quite as good. Do you not find that?
The PS3 seemed and it's not definitely the PS2, but a bit of the PS3 seemed the last time games took risks before the budgets just got so ridiculous. Where we've just got to go down this route because that'll sell. Yeah, we can't take any chances.
The Wii took some chances. Shit chances.
But Nintendo are willing to take a chance because it doesn't cost them anything, does it?
No.
The reputation that they have, it's unreal. It costs whoever the studio is. It's the studio that got the problem.
Nintendo haven't taken a risk gaming for fucking years. Not since they took a risk with the Switch, won, and then just rested on the laurels.
They took a second risk with the Switch, put a porn on it.
Nintendo took a risk with the Wii U and lost, and then the
obviously
Switch.
I'm all about Sony, but Nintendo are still their games still sell more than the PlayStation and the Xbox games. Like last year, Animal Crossing was the biggest selling game. They still sell massively, like their games. It's just that we're not their target anymore. You know, their demographic.
Well,
Everyone says their games are the same, but I don't think that's because we've grown up with it. Like most people are coming in a couple of titles in, kind of thing. Like they see one Mario game, then play the next. So it's not them playing, oh, I've played every Mario. They're all the same.
Well, I played Metroid Dread towards the end of the year, the start of this year, I can't remember. I wanted Metroid Dread to be like Super Metroid, just a flasher version. I didn't want it to change.
Yeah. Is it different?
Well, you've got the hunter chasing you, but it is just a jazzed up Super Metroid, really.
Well, you get the hunter, you get something chasing you in one of the Game Boy games, Fusion.
Yeah, it's Fusion. It's just Fusion again, then, isn't it?
I'm happy with that. I'm happy with just a flashier version of something I love.
That's the thing. It's still more the same, though, isn't it? I'm looking forward to playing
Nintendo games. Is how do I put this? They kind of sit between my want of story and my want of pick up, put down all the time. So like Pokemon, I can pick it up and go and catch a few Pokemon and then put it down. Whereas if I'm playing something like an Assassin's Creed, I don't want to play that on a Nintendo console because but I bought Assassin's Creed 3 on the Wii U, but that's besides the point. A, it doesn't look as good, and B, it doesn't play as good. And I want to sit there and just sit through it. I don't know. For me, Nintendo will always be a second console now. It will. And don't get me wrong, I will. I do have a love for Nintendo, but it will always be a second console.
Do you know what frustrates me when people that are like sort of they're not really into the modern systems so much, but they're loving the Nintendo because they go, oh, there's so many great indie games. Yeah, them games are also been on the PlayStation for years and the Xbox as well. I
like how much stuff goes from the Vita to the Switch.
Yeah,
but the Vita's terrible, so.
Yeah.
But the Switch for me is perfect because I do a lot of traveling on the train and stuff, and like I only play my Switch handheld. So if I'm in the sitting room with her and she's watching The Desperate Housewives of Slagville, I'll sit there with the Switch handheld and the indie games and stuff. That's what I want, the indie games and the first-party games from Nintendo.
But that's it for me. The Switch is predominantly a handheld system for me. It's great for that. It is great for that.
The problem with the Switch for me is the fact it's not a handheld. I love the Vita because to me that is the last great handheld.
I see the Switch as the Vita too, basically.
Look at it. I wouldn't say the Vita. I wouldn't say the Vita is the last great handheld. I'd have said the 3DS was the last great handheld.
You know, the 3DS has shit games on it. Yeah,
it has some amazing games. It's just that the Nintendo first-party games.
Yeah, but
I thought the 3DS was full of too many little girl games. If that makes sense.
I own a Vita. Don't get me wrong. I like my Vita, but
does the 3DS have a game where you transform sexy girls into cars? No.
Does it have a game where you spank girls?
My question is how much does your game cost with the sexy girls that you transform into cars?
That costs
me about 15 quid. We were buying them.
It cost me about 15 quid.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, but when you a true Vita collector would have got these when it was cheap.
Yeah, I'm relatively new to the Vita. I've only had it.
Actually, talking of which, this was on my pile to play, and I never got round to it. And Russell know about it.
Oh yeah, that's pricey now. That's very pricey.
Yeah, well, it's sealed. Do I unseal it and play it? Of course.
I'm bitter about Vita because I had all my games in a case. I lost the case.
Where's the camera? Can you see anything? Sexy girls. Yeah. There is a PlayStation. Is there a PlayStation 4 Japanese one of this? I think. Isn't there?
I don't know.
Yeah, I saw that recently. I was like,
two games in
that.
Yeah, we're an hour and 44 minutes.
Oh yeah, so well, the second game I played after 2 hours was Blood Will Tell. So this as an outsider looking in, this actually plays a bit like a anime style From Software game, because how you play this game, basically you start off and you've lost all your body parts. All your body parts have been taken by demons. And it's actually based on an anime, which I didn't realize. The title is Tezuko Asumi Dororo, which is, I think, something to do with the anime originally. And yeah, like you start off and the gameplay is all in black and white. And I was like, shit, is my cable like not working correctly? But then when it would go to like a cutscene, it was in color, and I was like, what was going on here? I didn't know what was going on. And then I beat the first boss, and I got my eyeballs back, and it started becoming in color again. I was like, oh, actually, that was quite cool.
That was not hard mode. It should be a black screen, and you have to fight your way through it.
But yeah, like you've got 48 bosses that you can beat through the game. So half of them are optional, and half of them are like story based. So there's a lot of like going around attacking monsters and stuff, and then there's a lot of like boss fights, which for me makes it feel like an early From Software game. And what I found quite interesting, I didn't know this until I completed both of the games, but both of these games are designed by the same company, Red Studios, which I've never heard of before until I played these games. I was like, that's weird, isn't it? Never heard of them before, and I played 2 games that were completely different from each other, and yet designed by the same company. How strange.
I'll say it definitely feels like From Software. That is hard, that game, I found.
Yeah, it is. I
found
the camera I found really hard, to lock onto the bosses when you were fighting them in the big arenas.
I'm pretty sure that's another Metal Jesus hidden gem, Blood Will Tell.
Who listens to that daft cunt?
Yeah, I didn't find this too hard.
That's why games go up so much.
I actually didn't find this too hard. There was a couple of boss fights where I was like, until you figure out how to beat it, expose it is quite hard. But like, you kind of get into a pattern, and you can use that pattern on a lot of the bosses and completely thrash them.
It got easier after a few. Like I got dicked. Like, it's probably gonna sound really bad by the slug woman thing at the beginning.
Oh yeah,
that
I think
ruined
was
me for
hard.
some reason. Then I got much better after that. Then it hit another wall. I can't remember who I was fighting, but it just got tough again. I was like,
yeah.
I found it quite tough, actually.
Go back now. I bet you don't now. You might find it okay, but yeah, I got the thing is as well. I beat a boss. It did a cutscene and then it crashed, and then I couldn't get it to work again after that. And I was like, "Fuck!" I was like, "What do I do now?" So, I bought this from CEX for £22 about 4 or 5 years ago. I found my original receipt. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to order another one from CEX, and I returned the disc with that one, so I could complete the game and beat the game. And everything was great. CX, sorry about that. But yeah,
if it was in 3 years, you could have went and traded it in and got another one.
No, it was more than 3 years ago. It was like a long time ago. Yeah, I'll did a screenshot of it. I'll send it so you can see. But yeah, 22 quid I paid for this.
I can't pay for it. I don't think it was much.
Well, I actually got another. After I got that, I got another copy from the car boot sale for £2. And then I traded that. I actually found a receipt for that where I traded it in for about 40 quid.
I sold my 3DS collection to buy it for £100.
100 quid.
Yeah.
No, to be honest though, like I think it was 85 quid the second one I bought, the one I just returned. That was 85 quid from CEX. No manual, of course. So that was my the reason to return it. But yeah, no, I think 50 quid. If you pay about 50, 60 quid, it's definitely well worth it. It's a great game, and it's one of them games that like it's very basic in like today's standards, but like I just really enjoyed the story. Like the story.
Cutscenes are fantastic, aren't they?
Exactly. Yeah. Like when it actually did the properly fully animated cutscenes, they were actually really quite stunning. They was like really ahead of the time. But I was really into the story on that. I kind of like that Japanese sort of like mystical sort of ninja style. I don't know. There's probably a name for it, but I don't really know what it is.
It's a strange game. You take your arms off and you've got blades underneath them. That's just weird.
Well, that was the thing. I don't know if you... How did you level up? Because if you used it like that, you could level up your weapons. But if you use the sword, which initially is the way that it was actually stronger, you do stronger attacks with the normal sword, you wouldn't level up. So it was better kind of like to like gimp yourself at the start, and then you could start leveling up. It's a weird concept how they did that. But when I figured it out, I was like,
problem.
yeah, that could be why you found it hard.
Yeah, I think the whole backstory of the game is deep in Japanese mythology in terms of the way that the person loses the body part and he gets replaced and by different things. I don't think it's based in I think there is a whole Japanese mythology behind that. I might be mixing it up with a different game.
Well, you take control of two characters, and the second character, Dororo, there's definitely a anime about it, and because Dororo is like a thief, and it's like this little kid, this little girl, but suppose she's like seen as a boy at the start, and it's like she's obviously not a boy. She's like definitely a little girl, and like I think there's a bit of a reveal later on, isn't there, that she's actually a girl.
That's a Mulan defense.
Sorry if I've just spoiled it for everyone, but it's not a spoiler. It really isn't.
I might be mixing it up with another game that the cunt that Mark referred to revealed, but I'm as a hidden gem. But I'm pretty sure it's that one. I'm sure when he mentioned it, I went and had a look, and I'm pretty sure there's a whole mythology that the whole thing behind it. There's a whole mythology behind that game in terms of how the.
Are you talking about we were talking about it in the group with Monkey?
No, I'm talking about the game Eddie's been playing where with body parts, when you kind of strip it back and it becomes something else. I think there's a historical Japanese mythology about that.
A lot of animes are kind of based on some kind of story that's previous. I mean, the story to the West has been used like on like majority of like animes, like Monkey and like what's it called? Enslaved.
I kept wanting to say Forbidden West because exactly. I couldn't think of it.
The best one Enslaved is done by what's it called? Ninja Theory with Andy Serkis. Same as thing,
right. Okay. Right. We've got 10 minutes left. Well, not 10 minutes. 10 minutes until 2 hours. I've got like 5% battery on this laptop. Is anyone want to be anywhere, or we could go for hours talk about games, or should we just do a wrap up of the last?
I'm fine to sit here. I could sit here and just rattle through the ones I've got here and tell you quick things about.
I to be honest, I can just plug my phone in and come back in a second and go on for hours. I don't mind. If everyone wants to cut it to 2 hours, we'll just do like a quick blast, 10 minutes if you want.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, which one?
Whichever one you do. It's your stream.
But like I say, I don't mind. I can talk about games for even
as long as I won't get another beer, I can carry on talking. I don't care.
I was going to say, why don't we move it to another hour and just smash through them quicker, like do a few at a time?
Yes, I could do another hour. I'm happy with that. And if anyone else wants to come on and talk games, I don't mind that as well.
Every time I go on a stream, they're 5 hours minimum, so I'm good with it.
Exactly. I mean, the end of the
my
day,
next game can go. I can talk about my next games together for the next 4. So,
well, the thing is, that's the thing with our streams. We're not trying to keep them to a couple of hours for the algorithms or anything like that. We just want to talk about bloody games, though.
We're just twats that like games. It's good.
Yeah. Right then. So, Ross, if you don't mind us disappearing while you chat about the next game, because I'm going to go let her out for a pee, and I'm going to get a Dr. Pepper.
Sounds good to me. Yeah, I'll talk about next.
I'm staying with you, Ross.
Yeah,
that's right. I'll do 2 games. I'll do 2.
Do a shit game. Do a shit game if that's all right.
Okay, I'll start. Okay, this isn't something I played much of. So
You don't play big games, Ross.
Oh, never. Now, I needed to go back and I wanted to finish off like games I'd started as well to get the trophies on them and stuff. So I went back and got the last few trophies I needed on Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy.
Oh, yeah. That's a simple game. That's really easy.
Really easy. But yeah, to be honest, I had all 3 platinums on this. I'd done Stormy Ascent. It's just I'd uninstalled it before they brought out Future Tense, which I'd already done on the Xbox anyway, so I knew what I was doing. So it took me like 20 minutes to get the rest of the trophies on that. So easy game compared to 4. 4 is impossible.
As Eddie's no longer the host, Mike, you love your difficult games in your FromSoft stuff. Have you even attempted to try and platinum Crash?
No. Yeah, I've never beat a Crash game. I've played them.
No. They're so difficult.
Well,
as platforms are, they are difficult.
Them 3 aren't. I don't think they're that bad.
You know,
I've done them twice now. I did them on the PlayStation, PS4, and Xbox One.
Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze was bloody hard. I played that last year.
If you could do that and speed run that, you could do Crash.
What about
I couldn't speed run Donkey Kong? I beat it. I wouldn't say I could speed run it.
What about the Spyro ones, Ross?
They're easy.
I've done the first Spyro. The others I haven't bothered to finish yet, but they're not hard at all. They're really easy.
Are they?
Yeah, they're genuinely really easy.
Maybe it's just because I am a self-confessed modern gamer.
Oh yeah,
but
but
anyway,
the remastered are pretty modern.
I apologize.
That's all right. I'll do one that I don't know if Mark's going to talk about it or not, but Evans Remains. I bought this randomly. Yeah, this was a random purchase off of the game collection. It was like £8. I didn't think much of it going into it. I was like, oh, it's a puzzle platformer, but it's part visual novel, part puzzle platformer. So, but it's got a surprisingly dark story. I thought it was going to be a very cliched story, but it takes a few turns that it goes a bit weird. Basically, you're looking for somebody on an island, but you can jump between like this room you live in, and it's a very strange game, but without giving it away. I don't know. The platforming's like a single screen kind of thing you've got to do to jump over stuff. It's actually a very easy platinum if you wanted to, because you can skip everything, like not do any of the puzzles, but it's highly recommended that you play the puzzles in it. It was genuine. It was better than I thought it was going to be for £8. I really enjoyed this. But what do you think?
It's only about 2-3 hours long, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really short.
For that. Yeah.
But,
yeah, that was what I got it. I got it as soon as you mentioned it, and I really enjoyed it. I put it on about 10 o'clock at night, and then just I thought, right, I'm going to get this smashed out before I go to bed.
To be honest, that's what I think I did. I started at about 10 o'clock. I was like 12 o'clock done. I was like, yeah. But that was it was a good £8 worth of money. I enjoyed it. So
nice little thing is where you get some stickers and postcards.
Yeah. Plus, I like the slip cover. Slip cover always looks good in the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, that's 2. I need to pee real bad, so we'll move it along.
So you go. Well, I'll go next because I wanted Eddie to be here because I got these on Eddie's suggestion. And I picked up Cat Quest, the Possum Pack. So Cat Quest 1 and 2. They are cat-based RPGs, which sounds really, really strange. But I love playing them. They were great. I preferred 1 over 2, mainly because they changed the control style on 2 over the first one. But yeah, Cat Quest 2 was really good because it became a cat and a dog, and they bounced off of each other.
I looked at the back of the box, and I've never played it or seen like gameplay. It looked like Thingy Jam and Earl. It looked like you on a little like island world.
So you are, but it's. I always see Toe Jam and Earl as being like a more of a platform type.
I kind of say the T word, kind of. That's why I went Jam and Earl.
No, so I always see them as being more of a platform style than this. This is.
It was just the visual look, looking on the back. I thought it was like a.
It has more of the. I mean, he's back now, so he might be able to. It's because of him that I bought them, but
we're getting blamed for
Cat Quest 1 and 2.
Oh yeah,
you're not getting blamed for them. I'm saying that it's you're the reason I bought them.
Oh, if I just come back to someone talking about Cat Quest, I fucking love Cat Quest.
Yeah, 1 and 2. So they're
I've not played 2 yet.
Have you not? If you really love 1, I preferred 1 over 2.
Okay.
Well,
I kind of wanted to space them out a little bit because I enjoyed. With games, I don't like playing them consecutively sometimes because I want to spread out the experience. Sometimes, if I know that that's the only 2 games, I don't want it to just end there. I want it to,
So I wasn't going to play them one after the other, but then Ross said that they're quite easy completions and quite close together. So I played them both. I prefer 1 over 2, I must admit. 2 seems to just add a lot more into it. They didn't have to over 1. Don't get me wrong.
They blow it out a bit with the dogs. But...
Yeah, they were both fun to play, but 1 is better than 2. But they were both fun to play, and I'm glad that you made me buy it, Eddie, because but they are very, very good. And,
yeah,
fair enough. By proxy, Ross made you buy it, so made me buy it.
You find with YouTube, it is like a dirty circle of just influences. Like it'll be just someone will just hear someone about it that time, but it's actually probably stemmed back probably 2 or 3 people before.
Dylan did that to me last night. He messaged us about 9:30 at night. Oh, Red Art, look at this game, look at it, and then sent us the trailer. And then by 20 to 10, I'd pre-ordered it.
Great investment. I think it cost me $14.99 for both of them. So for 2 games, one I think's maybe about 8 hours. The other one's possibly touching 12. If you want to play them to complete the story, then it's longer for the trophies. It's more than worth it. More than worth it getting the
Can I check in something that's really good about that game? That if you already own the first one, that has a reversible cover just to say it's Cat Quest 2.
Oh, does it? I don't.
That's how I have mine.
Yeah, I've got mine as just Cat Quest 2.
Yeah. So now what you need to do, Paul, is get the first one so you can have them as 2 copies.
The first one was expensive on its own, I think.
It used to be super cheap, like £4.
I don't know. There's certain PlayStation 4 games I've been looking at. I want Nexamon, but that's like 20 odd quid. I bought it digitally for £2 on Xbox.
It's a good game though.
Yeah, but if I'd have saw it, if I'd have seen it when me and Al were on the road trip, I'd have bought it. It was one of the things I was looking at, and there's a survival horror game that Al and Ian were talking about on the podcast that I was looking at. If I'd have seen it when we were around, I'd have bought it.
What's that?
I can't remember.
Back in 1995 on the Vita.
No, it was 20 quid in CE.
Tormented Souls?
No.
Daymare?
No.
Remothered?
And you can't even find a history. I'll message you when I remember what it is.
To be fair, the PlayStation 4 era has exploded with survival horror. You didn't have any, and then all of a sudden it's like every other game that comes out is now survival horror.
It wasn't Sweet Home, was it?
Sorry? Home Sweet Home, that's what it was.
Yeah, I sold that to Ian.
Oh, did you?
It was when he got to the end of his he was what we're playing now, and he mentioned it, and Al said, "Oh, it sounds really good. I'll try and have I'll try and pick it up." And then I happened to, when I was driving from home to Doncaster to meet Al, I listened to the RGB podcast going, and when he mentioned it and he mentioned what it was like, I thought, well, it sounds really good, so I'll pick it up. I just hadn't seen it.
He mentioned
Sorry?
something like, did I know what I sold him? I did. I have 2 copies. Neither one's sealed.
So, is that not a VR game? I thought it was a VR game.
It can be VR. It's VR compatible.
Play it with VR, but it's not a VR only.
Is that the one where you go home and your sister's gone missing and stuff like that?
Fuck knows, it's still sealed.
I played that digitally because you can complete it in 30 seconds once you know the code to get to the room.
No, that's Gone Home.
Oh, is that Gone Home? Is it?
That's Gone Home, yeah. Yeah, you go under the stairs and there's like a switch.
Yeah,
and things.
I enjoyed that. I thought it was really good.
No, this is like you're stuck in a house and there's some like mental thing trying to kill you.
Not to spoil Corbana's pickups, but I mean, he did 4,000 games in his last pickup, so a couple of games is not going to spoil too much of the video. But he picked up Remothered 1 and 2 for a $5 each.
Wow,
$5 each. That's a bloody bargain.
I'd love to have been able to see him at that price, because I'm pretty sure they're on one of my lists for one of my systems.
Yeah, they look great. I can't wait to knock them out. Is Mark said. But yeah, that's a Radical Reggie game. That one for me. He likes to talk about that a lot, doesn't he?
The first one's going to be good. The second one's going to be jank as hell.
I thought it was the other way around, or maybe.
No. The first one's pretty solid. The second one's real crap. It might have been Reggie I watched play it and he kept falling through the floor.
I don't know. I watched Eddie play Darksiders 3 once, and he kept falling through floors and roofs and stuff.
You watched me play Darksiders 3?
Yeah, you played it on a stream.
Did I?
Yeah, you.
I'd rather watch someone play it than play it.
Yeah,
I must have been fucking really drunk. I can't remember it.
It's a while back.
I can't remember.
It's all right. I don't
doing
remember any of my streams either.
Yeah, it's not good. It's
not a bad game. It's just it's just taking too many games genres and mashing them together.
When you compare it to 1 and 2, it is fucking garbage.
Oh yeah.
There's no map, is there?
From memory, I don't know. I can't remember.
I just remember that being, I swear, being the biggest complaint. There was no map of where you were going.
It was awful. It was awful when you consider 1 and 2. Yeah. But anyway, we're not here to talk about Darksiders.
So is it Mark's turn, or I can't remember?
Yeah,
I don't know where we are.
Yeah, it's Mark's turn now.
So I bought this game when it got released, and I've not played it until all the patches came out. But I finally played Cyberpunk 2077, and I know it got bashed and stuff like that, but it's actually, after all the patches and the upgrade to the PS5, it's a really, really good game. I really enjoyed it. The cities were a bit like, the roads. Sometimes you'd be driving for like 2 minutes and you wouldn't see another car, which was a bit like took you out of the world and stuff. But as a game, I thought it was really, really good. I enjoyed the story. I thought the gunplay was good, the upgrades and all that. It's definitely worth playing in 2077. Is definitely worth playing in 2022.
My applause there wasn't sarcasm. It was to applaud you for actually persevering with it, because I bought it slightly after it was released and it was shit.
Yeah, I put it in for an hour on day one and stopped, and I thought I'm going to wait and play it properly because I did like the idea of it.
I played it on release on PC, and then I played a little bit. I spent about half an hour on the dick slider, realised there wasn't an option for circumcised and uncircumcised. Drove around a bit and stopped, so I should probably go back to it. But yeah,
the sex scene actually
top notch.
The sex scene in the car with one of the fit birds is actually really good. and I was close to bagging one out, if I'm perfectly honest. But I didn't. But I was close. Like, I got a little twinge in my little dick.
I don't think I've got to the sex scene yet. The suicidal car mission was pretty fucking funny, though.
Yeah, that was, yeah. I think we spoke about that text, didn't we?
Yeah. But yeah, no, I've played it. Supposedly, like, I've put 30 hours in it, but I think what's probably happened is I've played it and fallen asleep and then come back on and, like, played it later. Because I do that a lot of games.
It's going to be nothing but Cyberwank 2077 now.
It was like kind of good sex scene, like the sex scenes in games.
But coming from The Witcher, like one of my favorite bits of The Witcher was just going around the world on back of a horse and enjoying just like seeing who I bump into and just enjoying the scenery. And that's the bit of I think everyone was expecting that kind of feeling because it was by them again. And Cyberpunk, that is the worst bit of it. Going around the city is the worst bit of Cyberpunk. It really is.
I played it quite linear. That's the next mission. I'll go there. You know, there was no, oh, what's that over there? I'm going to go and investigate type thing. It was
didn't give you enough, because that's how I felt with that Halo game. That was an open world game, but it didn't give me enough investment to go and look around the world. I just did it from A to B. You need to have the world where it's like beautiful, so you can like, oh, I'm just having a look over here, and then you just get enthralled, and like all of a sudden you've got 300 hours into that game.
Keanu Reeves is really good in it.
Oh yeah.
You know, like sometimes when they get like a big name star, it's just like they're there for the paycheck. But he seemed like, you know, he wanted to be there, and he put in a really good performance.
Doesn't he like live inside your head? So those sex scenes you were enjoying, Keanu Reeves is watching.
Have you got a Johnny Silverhand figure then, did you say?
Yeah, I went and bought it after I finished the game.
Yeah, I really... They had him in TK Maxx. They had him for like a $5 each, but I never got down to pick any up.
Oh, I got it off Zavvi in the sale for £10.
Oh, did you? Is it still on sale, is it?
It was one of those flash things they do.
So
I don't know how much it is now.
Talking about the big name stars in things, I played Quantum Break as part of the Xbox month, and the stars in that, they don't phone it in either. Right? It's a lot older than Cyberpunk, but yeah, Keanu never phones anything in. I don't think. Maybe apart from the last Bill and Ted film, that was a bit shit.
Well, going back to X-Files, like they've acted like it was an actual episode of the X-Files. You know, David and Gillian.
Gillian Anderson's a good actress. David Duchovny's a bit weird.
I said David and Gillian like I know them there, didn't I?
I tell you what, Gillian Anderson in Sex Education, she's still got it. In fact, I think she's better now than she ever has been.
I mean,
she's my number one ginger.
What's the not Terry Pratchett? Who's the other? Neil Gaiman book, American Gods. When she's in America,
I couldn't get into that.
Read the book. The book's really good.
I think it's probably because that guy from Hollyoaks he put on an American voice, so it put me off.
Well, I thought the same, but yeah, the book. But I read the book. I didn't read the book. Somebody read it to me because I don't generally read books anymore. I just have audio books. But yeah, no, the Neil Gaiman's book is really good. It's very worthwhile reading because you miss a lot of the stuff in that. But yeah, Gillian Anderson in that, she was amazing.
Talking about people not phoning it in, I'm telling you, Will Arnett did not phone it in for he led Return of Matt Hazard.
So I saw somebody playing that, and I have it on the 360. I would like to play it on the 360. I didn't want to spoil it, Eddie.
It's actually quite a fun game, but I was just looking at the comments, and we've got things saying PlayStation month, no mention of Horizon. Then
why?
Mark is saying, just finished it, Dylan. There's 70 hours. Is 70 hours the length of the stream, or how long you took to play the game?
To be fair, I mean,
we did it in February when it first came out.
I think we all pretty much just did it straight away, didn't we? And as well, like PlayStation month was kind of about going into our backlogs a little bit.
I played it after PlayStation month. As soon as it ended, I pretty much played it.
Yep, I've still yet to play the first one. Not bought the second one. I'll wait till it goes down dirt cheap.
It feels bad, but I'm struggling to get into the second one. The first one's like one of the best games I played, like last generation. The second one, something about it, the way Aloy tells you everything. She just talks to you. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You could be looking somewhere. I need to go here. I need to go there. This looks interesting. I think I could jump up there. It fucking does my nutting. Like,
well, I thought, because usually when they've got sequels, there's a new gimmick or something like that makes it its own game. And I thought at the start it was going to be like the Last of Us version of it, because you kind of got another character that's like following you around, haven't you? And I thought, shit, this is going to be like a buddy kind of game where you got like two players. I thought, I mean, it might be okay, but like you said, there's a lot of dialogue during that time, and sometimes you just want to just hunt things.
Yeah.
But it didn't last long until that like finished. And to be honest, I'm the same as you. I just love the first one so much that I can't get into the second one as the same. And it's not that it's a bad game, because honestly, if I played that one first, I would probably prefer that one over the first one. But because the impact that the first one made, I just the next one just didn't blow me away enough.
But a lot of these games, like these big open world games, like I played Valhalla and Forbidden West. You're just getting a yellow little dot, and it's just saying, "Go there, that's your adventure." Then go there, that's your other adventure. That was the beauty of Elden Ring. You've just got this world, and it's right, explore and do things. A lot of these new big open worlds don't feel like adventures. They're just like, go over there and do that little objective.
I'll tell you what's done the nowhere to go really well recently is Tunic. But that's a different thing. Tunic. Yeah, Tunic's so good.
Again, when did I play? I'm sorry, I played this in March, so as part of the 52. Tunic's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. It's a proper Zelda clone for.
Okay.
It's a Zelda Souls-like, is what it is.
Yeah, it's one of them. You can turn the accessibility mode on and play it, and you don't die, or you can play it where you're getting beasted constantly. It's immense. It's a great game. Turnip Boy was the other one. I played that this month, and that's the same. You can play it where you can absolutely get fisted, or you can play it where you've got accessibility on, and you can play it and you just play the story. Both of them are great.
That game has an amazing name.
Turnip Boy commits
tax evasion.
Honestly, Tunic is immense. It's a great game. Everybody should play it.
Talking about games that we should play, I know me and Ross have talked about this as well. Quarry.
I can't wait.
Fucking love! I can't wait for this game. But I won't be buying it day one, because I kind of I'm a bit disappointed about paying like 40, 50 quid for a game that I'm going to beat in a week or something, when I could get it in a few months' time and it'll be 30 quid. Even though I am really looking forward to that game.
If it gives me the same experience I got from Until Dawn, I'll drop the money for it. Definitely.
Yeah, I've got it pre-ordered. That's a day one for me. That
it's less than a month now, isn't
it? They haven't topped Until Dawn with any of their story stuff. So
yeah, that was my favorite, Until Dawn as well.
So good.
But it's because it was more of a traditional movie, like slasher style fun. There was horror, but there was fun with it as well. Where I think the other ones were a bit. What I've played of them and what I've seen are a bit too serious.
See, I like the other ones, but they're too. I don't know. They compact it into too much. There's a lot of bits in Until Dawn where you're walking around to build like atmosphere and stuff. These other ones are like you might walk 2 rooms and there's more story. So the Until Dawn reminded me of like an interactive horror movie with slight Resident Evil vibes of looking around and exploring, which is
It had some big actors in it as well, didn't it? With Hayden Panettiere.
Yeah, it's the guy who I can't remember, the guy who plays the crazy guy in Until Dawn. It's what broke him out as his main role, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But her Basti was quite good as well in Until Dawn. Hayden Pantomime.
Oh, she's belting.
Yeah. But yeah, talking about nearly knocking one off. That would have been a point for me as well.
Rami Malek was a Bond villain before he started Until Dawn, I think.
So I swear it was Until Dawn that chucked him more out there, but
you talk about backing them off. After I finished Bayonetta, I went on to X Hamster. And I typed in Bayonetta and it came up with all this like cartoony porn. I did find one where it wasn't cartoony. She got it right hiding in my mind. That's the third time I've went off.
In your mind, you just watched the whole video.
No, I bang.
As long as you didn't finish on the case, it's all good.
No, because the cartoony one, Bayonetta had a cock and she was like smashing angels, and I was like, no, that's too weird.
I always thought it was really weird. Technically, if you met Bayonetta, you could shave her clothes off with a razor.
Well, she does get a few flashes between them when she changes clothes. But that could be actually quite a good segue into the next game that I played while I was waiting for my new copy of Blood Will Tell.
Before you go into that, what's the PlayStation
Splasher?
Game? What's the PlayStation game that had the guy had a guy from Walking Dead in it who used to ride the motorbike?
Death Stranding.
There's two games I want to play on PlayStation: Death Stranding and Until Dawn. I own them both. I've just never put them in. Carry on, Eddie. Sorry.
Splasher.
Yeah, so I kind of jumped generations. I went straight from PlayStation 2 to PS4. I was feeling I needed a bit of PS4 fix. And I think this was a Red Art game. But yeah, this game, oh my God, I got fucking addicted to this. I absolutely love this game. So basically, what it is it's sort of like Super Meat Boy crossed with, what's that fucking paint splatting game for the Nintendo? Splatoon, yeah. It was like a cross between the two. You're this little character and you're like running around really hard levels, but you've got like this like water gun and you've got different abilities of the different colors that you throw against the wall. Some makes it so you can climb up, some makes you bounce, and some make you stick, bounce. And what was the other one? I can't remember, but it did another ability. And then you've got a water one where you can clean it up and sort of like get through the level in different ways. But then you've got like other obstacles that are like getting rid of these colors or like adding colors to make it harder through the levels. But you've got like, again, collectability stuff that you've got like kind of got different ways to collect things. So you've got like get 1,000 different splats, I guess, to then get a character at the end of the level. And then you've got to kind of get like these other characters that are like hidden in the levels as well. And when it comes to collectability, I mean, as a collector, we look at this fucking room, it's just full of shit that I wanted to collect. And when that gets put into a game, it just addicts me. And I found these hard games that are just instant replays where you're like constantly dying just to try and get past a certain bit. And then once you learn how to do it, you can do it really easy afterwards. I find them kind of games really addictive. And like, honestly, I think that's my favorite style of gameplay. Like these really retro, simple games, but really hard. But once you get past it, you know how to do it. They're my favorite kind, like the rinse replay.
As long as you've got an instant restart with no load in between, I love those types of games. Like you press a Meat Boy, you're straight back to beginning and go again. It's why I really liked Steep, because you could instantly start again. Like,
oh, can you? Yeah, that's it. I mean, you get these games where it's like you get to a hard bit, and then like you die, and it'll either load you back to wherever, or it takes you back so far that when you get to the bit that you need to get to, you forget what to do. It's like, so you just die again and then you go back, and that's frustrating. Where this is like sort of like shortish like checkpoints, where you just like learning one section really well, but it's like really hard to get past. Love that. I absolutely love that kind of gameplay. Yeah, Celeste is another game that is very similar kind of genre as that.
I love Celeste.
He's only saying it's wank because he couldn't get past the first stage.
Yeah, Celeste was good. I got the 1000G. I'll go for the platinum on it. I need to do it again. It was good.
Yeah, I've got the platinum and I've got the 1000G.
It was going to be on my PlayStation.
To be honest,
it was one of the ones I was going to do.
To be fair, the platinum and the 1000G I've only got by actually cheating.
Oh, the accessibility.
Yeah,
to be honest, I used it on the last few of those little like extra bits. What are those extra? I can't remember what they're called. Like, is it like?
Oh
tapes
yeah, the tape.
Yeah, there was like 2 of them I couldn't do. I was like accessibility for the last 2. But other than that, I love the game. It's so good.
Now then, Alex.
Sorry.
Hope you finished that garden.
What game are you talking about then with the tapes?
Celeste.
Oh. I apologize.
Not
I went away and came back. I came back to Ross mentioning Super Meat Boy. Can I honourably mention a game that I played during PlayStation Month that isn't actually a PlayStation game that potentially has?
How dare you?
May come digitally to PS4 and Xbox, I'm led to believe, and in Tapeworm. Tapeworm was an awesome game.
Why is that like Super Meat Boy, is it?
No, it's not. It's just because you mentioned Super Meat Boy, and Flea was made by Alistair Law, which is very similar to Super Meat Boy because it's balls hard. But Tapeworm,
that's a very strenuous link there, I've got to say. But like,
Tapeworm is made by Games, and I'm not paid by these people at all. But a part of the VS Game of the Month, it was the Game of the Month, and I put it in. I wasn't going to do any reviews or anything. I wasn't going to even touch the games of the month for the VS stuff. But Tapeworm's fantastic. So you've got a Dreamcast, Eddie, and you've got a Dreamcast, Ross. You should get it on the Dreamcast. Don't know whether you've got Dreamcast Mark or not, but
I give it away.
You should get it on the NES. Then you've got the potential to buy it on the NES. You can get it on Steam, but I believe it is due to come to PlayStation and Xbox digitally. Absolutely immense game. I love everything about it. It's brilliant. So that's the only PlayStation outside of PlayStation Month game that I play.
I haven't, because I've got it on the limited run PS5, and I'm going to do a Dylan, and I'm going to keep all the PS5 ones sealed, I think, and then just buy the ones I want to play digitally.
Open them.
But why though?
I play enough games to justify keeping some sealed, I think.
Yeah, he does, I guess.
I just think it'd look nice when they're all like sealed together. I look at myself more as a gamer.
I do like that's
the collection. I think the limited run.
But yeah, so
you're going to go for a PS5 tech then, I am.
I've got the first 25 ordered or been delivered so far. I'm up to date, yeah. Because Dylan sent us a picture of all the PS4 ones and his little like cupboard thing. It just looks absolutely belting, you know, when they're all together, numbered and lined up.
Well, we were trying to work out the other day how many is there. I'm sure there's about 400. Is it nearly 400 games that
there's over
released
400
on PS4?
ones. There's over 400.
Yeah.
I think they're up to about 400.
That's a full bully bookcase full of them. Full bully bookcase.
I want the Vita set. That's it. And there's one that I don't want to pay for. So.
And it's not a very good game by all accounts.
That's Meat Boy. I want to pay for. Don't want to pay for.
Oh, it's Meat Boy. I thought it was Breach and Clear. Sorry.
I've got
that. Is it Al that wants Breach and Clear then?
I've got it. When we were doing the shelf game, he pulled it off my shelf and I had to buy it.
Oh, got it.
Breach and Clear is stupid, isn't it? As well, it's so expensive for a video game.
I think.
So, to be fair, I don't think it's a bad game. It's not a bad game. It's just not worth what it's worth.
No, it's a tactical.
No game's worth what it's worth. That's the problem I have when people, I don't. That's my problem with values of things. No game is worth what we think it's worth. You know,
Not really.
Is Jet Set Radio
I agree.
Is Jet Set Radio Future worth 50 quid on the original Xbox? No, it's not. I'll wait.
Why,
I'll argue,
but
as
Paul,
long as it's-
why is it not worth 50 quid when it was that price when it first came out?
Yeah, 50
So-
quid to me. Most things are worth 50 quid if you're willing to get them. Because
If I'd have bought it
Price of
when
the
it
game.
first came out, then it might have been worth 50 quid. But then there's been re-releases of it, or there's been upgrades of it,
Where?
or I've got it digitally as well. So is it worth 50 quid physically? That's the thing. I don't
Anything's
know.
worth what you're willing to pay with your own money, isn't it?
Yeah, it's that's the way I look at it. I don't know. Is Maiden of Blackwater, like we were talking about on the Wii U, is it worth 120 quid that we were talking about today? Probably not.
no, it
It's
won't be.
worth 160 quid. It's worth 160 quid, that's why.
I don't know.
But I know what you're saying. I know.
Is it worth it?
No,
it's not
to be
worth
honest,
it.
it's not. It's a
Or-
shit game. Like, it's not a
Is it
shit
worth-
game. It's just a very average game, I find.
So speaking of going on to a cheap game, which you can get for about a £5, another one that I completed this month, and it's like one of my favorite games of all time. And I think Gordon's done it again this month. Second Sight. I play this game every couple of years. I just absolutely love it. It's by the guys who did GoldenEye. So it's a lot of the X-Rare guys went on to do Free Radical. Yeah, so what it's suffered because the box art is absolutely terrible and it doesn't like tell you what the game is. And it came out the same time as another one called PSI Ops, and they're very similar games where you can use telekinesis and different powers. You can possess people. But I just absolutely love the story of Second Sight. I just think it's absolutely brilliant, and it's got that Free Radical time splitters, graphic style to it. And the story's quite dark. Gordon actually said in his last video, you go into it thinking it's going to be like Time Splitters, all cartoony and jokey, but it's quite a dark story, mental illness and stuff like that behind it. It's just absolutely brilliant.
I have it on the
It's really cheap. You can pick it up for less than a £5. Definitely worth playing.
Pretty sure I've got it, but never played it.
Yeah, there's lots of games like that I've got. Just Al was saying to me the other day, I was like, why don't you sell all your games? When are you going to have time to play them? It's like, yeah, but I like to have that library of games that are just there. Because, like, sometimes we have a conversation, and I know that I don't have to go and spend a £5 for that game because I paid 50p for it, like, once upon a time. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that's how that's my logic of it.
So I've done what Al's done. I've looked at what's on my PlayStation 2 collection, what's on my Xbox collection, and I've stripped out the PlayStation 2 stuff. I only want the exclusives on it, and I'm with you. If you own something and it's something you don't want to get rid of, why would you? Kind of thing.
Yeah, but Al makes no sense because he's saying I'm getting rid of all these games because I don't want to play them. So he gets rid of really good games on the Nintendo, the Mega Drive, or what have you. And then he does a pickups where he's showing 360 J.I. Jockey or whatever it's called. And you're like,
To be fair to him, he's
no
going
sense.
for a full 360 collection, so I can give him that. If he was like me and he was not going for a full collection.
Are we going to put bets on how many months after he gets his full set that he sells it off?
I'll buy the last few I need off it.
You mean his full Mega Drive collection that's not his full Mega Drive collection? I keep loving reminding him of, but no, I mean, fair play to him. He's selling these things off for a reason, and I agree with the reason that he's trying to get rid of them. He wants to buy bricks and mortar, and that's fair play to the guy.
Yeah, makes sense.
I'd sooner own bricks and mortar than the plastic that we've got around us.
I could probably do the help of mine, actually.
Bricks and mortar for a lot more than this plastic that's sat here.
All right, we're cracking on.
Right.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure I was supposed to go at some point, and it never got that far. And
go for it.
I'm going to chuck 3 up because just to get through it quicker. First was Clockwork Aquario. It's an old arcade game that was never finished by the people who did Wonder Boy. It's a very, very short game, like 20 minutes long. It's literally just a very simple platformer where you just, I don't know, it's got a weird mechanic in it where you pop balloons and you can pick up your enemies and throw them, kind of like Tombi style is the one I can think of that most people like it. Very easy platinum. I got the platinum on this. It takes 3 playthroughs, but make sure you play on arcade mode. So that's a good game.
That's my problem.
Was that the strictly limited then? What that was? Yeah.
Well, just like to say, well done, Russ. You probably talked about that game longer than it actually takes to complete it.
Most likely, it's so short. I really enjoyed it though. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Really good.
But it's definitely a good game to play. Like if you can get it digitally, unless you're a collector, there's no point in having it digitally, physically.
Oh no, especially not a collector's edition of it.
Oh my!
Yeah, okay. Next one, Concrete Genie. It's one I started ages ago. I thought I'd go back and get the platinum on this. I did that. Got the VR trophy sniffing. It's a game I always thought I'd really enjoy because I thought it was going to be like Infamous Second Son, where you do a lot of the painting and stuff. I thought it'd be more like that, but it's just walking around putting stickers on walls, which come to life. But the story's pretty good to it, and it's pretty short. It's like a 4 or 5 hour game. It's probably worth it. It's about an 8 to 10 quid game. Quite fun. Easy platinum. And the next one is one that I was the 12th person on True Trophies to get the platinum on. It was Freedom Finger, which, to be honest...
I saw you stream that.
Yeah, I wasn't good when I streamed it. It took me a while to get good at it. But
Are you the 12th person to get the platinum because it's that expensive that only a certain number of people own it?
No, because it's digital. You can get it.
Oh, right, okay.
It's actually not that expensive. I thought it might be a bit more pricey, but it's not that expensive.
Physical.
But yeah, it's a good fun, cheap shooter, like cheap looking and cheap playing. Very xenophobic. Like the freedom is very, very American. But it came out on the Switch ages ago from Super Rare, and it's got a really interesting box art. But this one's it's covered in like limited run watermarks and stuff to take the piss with really bad stuff and like a money grabbing thing on the back. I just thought it was amazing the way they did it. And like the manual actually has the source code for the game printed in it, really small. It's like real strange. But if you want a fun, stupid shooter, it's worth it. But it's not gonna blow your mind.
It's also the voice actors in it. It's got Nathan Drake and Bender from Futurama in it. It's like
they play the opposite roles than you think they would. Yeah. That's the weirdest thing with it. Nathan Drake's like the gruff voiced one, and Bender's the squeaky voiced like nerd. It's so weird, but yeah, it's if you can take a bit of casual
when
racing,
you play like Uncharted, and then you play Assassin's Creed or something, and it's got the same voice. Is it Nolan North? Yeah. And it's got the same voice, and you're like, I still find that weird.
I didn't believe it.
The girl, Ellie.
Can I just say, Nolan North is the best Deadpool, hands down. Best actor at Deadpool.
I still think he should have been
it very well, but Ryan Reynolds is the epitome of Deadpool. But Nolan North does Deadpool very, very well in the game. He's very, very good.
To be fair, I think Ryan Reynolds is gimped by studio sort of like expectations. Like
Ryan Reynolds
not pushed the fourth wall boundary breaking that should be in Deadpool. I think is just a bit too far fetched for like a film that needs to make some money. I think probably.
I've got a theory. Retro Red Steve just does his videos on the floor, and you never see his legs. I think it's because he's got the same legs from Deadpool 2. He's just got those little legs hanging down. That's my theory on Steve.
No,
there is normal size legs though, Mark. That's the problem. Having met him, there is normal size legs. It's not like he's got Deadpool's
Well, I just want to say as well, like he's getting nominated for YouTube of the Month, and if he wins, he needs to bring back kitchen pickups because he used to do pickups in his kitchen. Kitchen pickups are the way forward.
I must admit, I've avoided the YouTuber of the Month, as I said I would do. But more and more people who I talk to regularly are getting nominated for it, and fair play. I would love to go and nominate and vote for you, but I said I'd avoid it, and I did do. I have done. Tried. No,
no joking.
I told Stu when he made his changes, I didn't agree with his changes, and I would try to avoid it. I think I may have voted once, maybe for Retro Ed, but I felt wrong. Oh no, I don't think I voted. I think I told Ed I felt wrong voting, so I wouldn't. And as a man of principle, I'm going to hold that principle. Right. But fair play to Steve, and if my principles will let me vote, I would vote. So you should all go and vote for Steve. Is my roundabout way of saying that.
I'll get Al to do some of his burn accounts for him. It's all right.
Just get Al to do his. We need Al live to do the Brummie accent. That's what we need. You should hear Al's Brummie accent. It's brilliant. Get him to do it at Arcade Club Eddie. Is awesome.
We'll do. We'll have to do a stream where he just does that accent.
Right, I'm going to grab a beer.
So with that, Paul.
So I'm not going to pull them off the shelf. I'm going to go for 3. 2 of them are related, and then this is my last round. So the first one was Infamous Second Son that Ross spoke about. So I was originally going to play through the entire Infamous catalogue, and then I realised that I've done Infamous and Infamous 2 both ways. I've been good and I've been bad. And I'd played Second Son as a good guy. I wanted to play it as the bad guy and get what trophies I could. And then I realised I hadn't played First Light, and admittedly it's glorified DLC, a bit like Miles Morales is. But I stuck Second Son in and played a bad playthrough where you do everything as the evil one. They're not as good as 1 and 2. 1 and 2, I think you're the person who said it to me, Eddie. Infamous is one of the best superhero games there is. I got Infamous. I was on PS Now, not PS Now, PSN. Was it Lizard Squad that hacked PSN and took it down for ages? And then Sony offered so many games as a freebie. And I didn't even think about Infamous. I just got it as a freebie and never played it. And I played it one weekend and loved it. It was brilliant. Everything about it was amazing. And Second Son takes that and does okay with it. It's not great. It's not bad. First Light is just very meh. The story's not great. It is glorified DLC.
First Light was my first experience of Infamous because I actually really loved it because it was my first, introduced me to it. But I really loved her powers, like how colourful it was. I kind of liked her storyline as well, to be fair. She was quite a good character.
Yeah. And in Second Son, when you get her powers, it's amazing. To spoil it for people, but when you get her, colourful graffiti powers, it's amazing. I didn't quite like I liked the spray paint stuff to a degree in Second Son, but I didn't quite like because it wasn't accurate with the pad. But her powers are amazing. They are very, very good. But if you compared it to 1 and 2, would I play it? Would I have played it? Probably not. But somebody mentioned Assassin's Creed, and I played Assassin's Creed 2 before I played 1, and then I went back to 1, and I really didn't like it. Whereas for you, if I'd have played First Light and then gone back and played 1 and 2 of Infamous, I think I would have liked them more.
I've actually not played 2 yet. I need to play 2 actually.
They're very, very good games. Top notch games.
First Light had too much kind of challenge room padding, but that might have only been because I was going for the platinum on it. It had a lot of like, you must beat these things in certain ways, and I didn't like that. But
I think it was only like that because it's glorified DLC like Miles Morales is. It really is. It should have just been DLC for Second Son.
Well, it was the start of that standalone DLC, wasn't it? Really,
it came at the end of the. I think what you're saying is right. Sorry, I was going to say it came at the end of of the PS3, but Second Son was a PS4 game. So
because I'm sure that was the first game that was like that was released as DLC on a disc, and then Wolfenstein did it as well, didn't they? And then
Blood, didn't they?
Yeah, there's probably only a handful that I like it, but I kind of like that idea because, to be honest, they're quite, for me personally, they're like they're that great length. They're just like a good snapshot.
But Miles Morales is my annoyance because that realistically should have just been tagged on to Spider-Man, but the only reason it wasn't tagged on to Spider-Man was because the PS5 was being released. So they could have
I disagree when people just say it's just a DLC. It's 10 to 15 hours. Now, we've talked about some great games already that we've played and were 4 or 5 hours long. So,
but I don't say it's DLC. It's glorified DLC.
Yeah,
it's not DLC. It's just glorified on top. It doesn't.
Yeah, it's different if they take like the same environment than just put another character in it to a game that's brand new and 4 hours long.
Yeah, I
mean, yeah, because we always say the female Uncharted is glorified DLC. Where what's different with that one compared to sort of like First Light? First Light was in the same city, but you've only got a small part of the city that you can play in with a limited amount of powers that you could use. So there you go. That is your glorified DLC. And I think Miles Morales is the same. Whereas the female Uncharted, actually, that's a whole new story, whole new environments. And I really enjoyed that as well. A lot of people say that they prefer that over 4 as well.
I only classify Miles Morales as glorified DLC because I wanted Miles Morales to have a whole story on his own. I wanted him to have the whole Spider-Man effect, and it's just unfortunate because Sony are the only ones who will do Spider-Man because that's the IP that they own, and that's fair enough. But it would have been nice for him to have a massive game like the original Spider-Man, which was 30 to 40 hours.
I liked how they changed the story from the game from the film, which I thought was fantastic.
They
changed the story, like his origin. I thought that was quite good.
Yeah, and I agree, but I still think it was just DLC disguised as a full game to make you pay for it.
It was I don't think there's no illusion of that. I think everyone knew that.
I'm not going to say Sony's done anything bad. I think it's fantastic. Look at my name.
It's a good game. Don't get me wrong. It's good. It's good, but I just think it was still DLC disguised as.
Well, I think this is correct. Basically, yeah, it was DLC, but then they've decided to make it longer for the launch of the PS5, wasn't it? Really?
PS5 era, yeah.
Yeah.
And the last game that I played was a surprise game. So when me, Al, and Sean were on the first Southern road trip, Mark's internet's fucked. he bought a game on the Xbox called The Town of Light, and so I own it on PlayStation 4. I bought it just randomly before I bought the one on the Xbox. I didn't realize it was on Xbox, and I thought, you know what, I'll put it in and have a go at it. And it's a walking simulator to a degree, but the storyline is very meh until you get to the end, and then when you get to the end, the storyline is immense.
It's a very dark
game,
isn't it?
It's very dark at the end. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but it's very dark at the end. And you need to. It talks about medical practices in the 1920s. Medical practices that were started in Europe that went into the US. There's a very famous president called JFK whose sister had these medical practices done on her. It's a very, very good game. It's not a good game if you'll play it and think you're bored when you're playing it, but then you get to the end and you play the ending and you see the ending FMV. Well, it's not FMV. You see the ending and it's great. It's a fantastic ending.
The internet went down.
So I want to get it on. I want to get it on the Xbox and play it on the Xbox again because it's and not just for the G. It's just such a good game. The storyline when you follow it through is fantastic.
Their new game, I can't remember what it's called. It's about the murder of somebody. It's also supposed to be pretty good. It's the one that got banned. Like PlayStation have censored it, but Xbox haven't. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, I heard this. It's digital only on Xbox, isn't it?
Whereas it's by the same people, and apparently it's still good.
Town of Light was physical, but yeah, Sony have.
Sony
has got everything. It's got a limited run release in America.
But you know, Town of Light is a great game. Not one I would have stumbled on until Al picked it up on the Xbox physically. Even though I owned it, I just wouldn't have even thought about it.
Just want to bring this up as well, what James has said. Mario Kart, did we all join it? Did we all do it?
Yeah.
I forgot.
We all put time in. So when we're going to get to see that then? Is it probably going to be Christmas or next year? It was a year, I think, the last one, wasn't it?
He said he's editing the entire thing together, like so he doesn't have to do it every week like he was last time. Then when it's all done, he's going to release it.
Just seen.
Yeah, I only asked because I was. Oh no, shit! I was.
Everyone.
Firewatch was really good.
I played that one. That was really good.
Yeah, Firewatch was good.
Everybody's got the Rapture. As Steve said, I'm halfway through. That's really good. I'm enjoying that. It's like setting a little English country village.
Which one? Sorry, Mike.
Everybody's gone to Rapture.
All right.
It's made it. Everyone's been wiped out in the village, and you don't know why and stuff like that. And it's made by a Chinese company, so
it's made by the same people who did the Unfinished Swan and stuff, isn't it? Was it the Chinese Room? Not Chinese Room.
Firewatch was really good, and it was on Game Pass. I think it might still be on Game Pass. But
Martha is Dead, by the way. Is that other game we're on about?
Yeah. I remember reading that it was censored by Sony, but it was being released on PC and Xbox. Potentially, it's going to come to Game Pass for.
What is the censor? What bit is it that's not on?
They peel someone's face off.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's nothing, not weird. Like you think it'd be something really bad, but
so
I don't want my face peeled off, but.
I think the American market is less sensitive to that kind of gore because it's supposed to be quite physically actual real than the Japanese market, which I thought was really, really weird. So the censorship, the boundaries for censorship are strange as hell.
They've got Tokyo Gore Police, for God's sake. It's mental, isn't it?
We don't care about fuck, bugger, fucking cunt, slag. Whereas in the US, they're bothered about it. But in the UK, we're bothered about sex being shown. So
But we're still more liberal than the Americans on that kind of thing. Like,
they can't show tits on telly.
Yeah.
So you can see people get like dismembered. That's fine.
Yeah. No, yeah. Honestly, we're worse on nudity and sex than the US are in film. This is.
I don't think we are. We're not. America is actually really. That is the show a pair of nipples that will turn the station down.
Well, in the 80s, 90s, we would be very, very disinclined to show nipples and shit, and we would gladly have swear words, whereas the US would have nudity and we would hate the swearing. 80s, 90s, that is.
I just find it funny that Americans call it twat.
Twat.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's a twat. It's twat.
I find it funny. I find it funny the Americans call an ass a fanny. It's brilliant.
Well, but if you have an argument with one of them lasses in America, they take a shit in your bed, don't they?
I don't know. You're talking from experience.
Well, when she goes for a shit now, when she looks at me, it's called an amber turd.
I tried to watch some of that court case.
I've watched loads. I've watched loads.
It's mental. All I hear is objection, 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 objection.
Well, they object on their own questions, don't they?
I feel bad for anyone called Amber, because literally you go for a shit now, it'll be Cockney rhyming saying you go for an Amber. Like, fucking hell.
Either she's talking bollocks and he didn't slap her up, or he slapped her up and she's not talking bollocks. Which fucking way is it?
The thing is, right, you've got two really good actors, actresses, whatever you want to call them, in a court case. How can you believe either one of them? You just can't, can you?
Not a good actor. Johnny Depp's a decent actor, but she's not a good actor in the slightest.
I mean, I think
they should be both of them in the courtroom. They get given a knife each. Fight it out.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're off on a tangent.
Knife fights between people in the court. It's good.
I'm finished, by the way. That's my PlayStation month done.
I've got a few here.
So did Amber Third play PlayStation during PlayStation month? That's the real question.
There'll be a link of her on a Vita at the back of the courtroom somewhere.
Oh, she's fucking filthy.
With a jar of dirt. So yes, I'm sure you played more PlayStation, have you, Mark?
Yeah. One that has been on the backlog. Well, I say it's been on the backlog. I've wanted to play it for years. I only just picked it up actually last month, and I played it within like a couple of days again. And that was Alice Returns to Madness.
Oh yeah.
Like again, it was another one where it's absolutely like the art style of it's absolutely brilliant. The game's good. The combat's like it's quite simplistic, but it's the camera angles and the controls again that let it down. It's like 3D platforming. There's not many games I can think that I've actually getting it right, and there's quite a lot of tough platforming in it. It wasn't hard. It was more frustrating, and it ruined it soured the experience, as a whole. But it was still decent.
Yeah, I found it really slow going. It took me quite a while to complete that game for some reason. But I really enjoyed the idea of it. It was just a bit dated.
I actually haven't played it. I watched Chrissy play it, and she played for it, and it looked good.
It is good. It is good. It's just it's just the camera angle. Sometimes you can't swing the camera around to see where you're jumping. You're just jumping forward in a 3D platformer, and you're just hoping you see your shadow on the rock in front of you type thing. and that's like it's frustrating, you know, when you're missing jumps and you're like, for fuck's sake.
I found Pandemonium a bit like that, even though it's not 3D, it's 2.5D. I found Pandemonium a bit like that. It's very hard to judge where you're going.
You can be more forgiving because that's PS1. Like, you know, Alice. It's
just
I know what you mean. Like, but I did enjoy it. It was good. This is a weird one. I did it on the Switch, but I'm going to talk about it anyway because it's on the PS4. That's Infinix. Because I don't know if any of you have. I think Ross, you've played it, haven't you?
I have. Did you try the thing I told you to try with it?
Yeah, I haven't. No, I just did it normally. I will go back and do that.
Is that the cheat code?
Yeah, I didn't know anything about the cheat code.
You changed the game up, don't you, to like a run and gun or something?
Yeah, I didn't know any of that. I just played it as a bog standard Metroidvania, but it feels very much like Castlevania 2 as well. And you know that famous bit in Castlevania 2 where you just bend down, or you kneel down to get to the next part. There was a part in the world when I thought that looks just like that, and I tried it, and it actually worked. The whirlwind come and took us up. It was like,
it's hard as fuck though if you don't put the cheat code in. It's really difficult.
I didn't put the cheat code in. I beat it in the car on the way down to Alton Towers.
Oh well, fucking more fool.
As you do.
If I was to do that, my Switch would have been covered in sick before I left the bloody town. Like I can't. When I'm in a car and I'm a passenger, I can't read. I can't look out. I have to keep my eyes outside the window, or else I'm just straight away.
Like Mark, you've done Elden Ring. You've beat Hades. I can't even get through Hades. I can't beat the first ring of Hades to get through it. Have you played Skull?
No.
I think you probably really enjoy Skull. You should get it for. I've got it on Game Pass, but I think you'd really enjoy it. I think it's going to be. Thanks, Eddie, for changing my name. By the way, I've just noticed that.
It was when I was bringing him back. I realised, you could change names for other people. That's brilliant.
But yeah, I think really enjoy Skull. It's very similar to Hades, but it's more. It's 2D platformer-esque. Just have a look at it.
Hades is probably the only rogue-liked game that I like. I'm not really into the rogue-like.
It's not raw. It's not. I'm only saying it's like Hades.
Oh no! Yeah, I was just saying about Hades. Yeah,
you can play through it, and you pick up different powers, and then you get reset back to the end. I think is why I'm saying it's like Hades.
So
check out that. I don't like rogue game. Neon Abyss. That's really good.
Which game?
What's that?
Neon Abyss. It's like a 2D roguelike game where you have to get further and further into the levels of like basic. I think it's pretty much the same as dropping into hell when you keep dropping down further and further with a boss at the end. But I don't like this type of game. They're really good.
Is there a physical of it or
on PS4 there is, yeah.
Is it, yeah. Limited or
it was
retail?
A limited run release, I think.
Oh, was that? One that you might like, actually, another one probably similar to what you've just explained, one called Rogue Legacy. It was a PSN title, one of the first ones I got for the PS4. And I played it and I was like, well, I don't get it. I was just like constantly dying. But then I realized every time I died, I was going a little bit further and further. And I didn't realize what the rogue sort of game element was. I've heard of it, but I never understood it. And once I realized, oh shit, it's the same. You just getting further and further. I got like really addicted to that game. It's really good, Rogue Legacy. It's sort of like you're in a castle and you've got like every time you die, your descendant takes over some of the powers, and you carry on through the castle again. It's really good.
Because Rogue was it a game in the 80s, like on the Commodore 64 or something?
Yeah, it's an old PC style, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure it was from the 80s or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an old Windows game, isn't it, Rogue?
Oh, the window. Yeah, I knew it was old. Maybe not 80s and maybe 90s. Bar Dark Souls and Bloodborne, which I'm sure you don't want us talking about again. I think that was pretty much it for mine. I did a few Switch games just while I was sat there. PlayStation, that was it really.
So,
I
how
have
many?
just,
Does anyone get any more games or?
Oh, I've got more.
Oh yeah.
But I
Okay. Well, I'll do 2, and then 2 again after that. Yeah.
I was say I can
Yeah.
happily rattle through all of mine next way. So
Okay. Well, I'll do 4 then, because I've not completed any of these games, so I've not got like a full thing about them. But I played Eat Lead. This was going to be my PS3 iteration because I heard lots of good and bad things about it. I found it, yeah, it was quite funny, like the lines of dialogue and stuff like that. But I got to a bit in the kitchen fight where, because it's like so stiff controlling, I just kept getting shot by some. Like I'd either get shot by someone to my left that was flanking me, or someone that was above me in a balcony. So I'd run into the room, I'd kill one, and then the other one would kill me, or I would go and kill the other one, and then the one that was flanking me would kill me. And I got frustrated and I turned it off. But I've got a feeling I was kind of like not in a good place with gaming at that time. I don't know if you guys get the same, where it's like you love games so much that you kind of willing to overcome them, and then sometimes it's like you get killed 2 times in a row, like fuck that game, throwing it away. That's where I was with that game. So yeah, I needed something that I was going to love next, and that's what I did with Splasher, and absolutely fell in love with that game. Next up, I played Rough Trigger for the PlayStation 2. So this is
that's something I've always wanted to play, but I don't want to pay for it.
Well, I've got the receipt in here. I paid £3.50 for it.
I think it's over 30 quid now. It's probably more about the 50-ish. So
yeah, it's not a cheapo game. But yeah, this is jumping on the Ratchet and Clank sort of bandwagon at the time. It's a very average game, very stiff. It's kind of cool, but it's enjoyable, but it's like it's not really pushing any boundaries. You can see it's like holding it, like just holding the coattails of other games. And I don't know. I got to a bit and I got a bit frustrated again. I'm about halfway through. I will go back and finish it though. I do want to go, but I have noticed. I don't know why, but my PlayStation 2 is going to have a fucking ring burn, and it was a mint copy before. Can you see the ring on the edge there? Fuck.
You buff that out.
Yeah, it'll probably be buffable, but it's a bit of a shame when it was like perfect before. So I'm gonna have to stop using that PlayStation. Do you know why that happens?
Isn't it when it's sometimes when it's slightly off-centered? Like I've had a few. Is it a slim or a fat?
It's a slim.
Slim, yeah. There's like the little clips that hold the thing in, like it's like a little ball. Some of them come loose, and sometimes it sits slightly off-centered. But I don't know if that's the reason. I've had that on a few games using an old slim that I chucked away. But
okay, yeah, it's a shame it's on a game like this and not like just a common game that you see all the time. But yeah, I need to go back. You going around. The only thing that's probably different is you're going around and you're having to save these little piglet things, which it's not really that exciting. It really isn't. You've got another mechanic as well where you turn into a werewolf, and it again not any. It's just a bit. Every other game's done it, and they've done it better.
I tried to play Samurai Jack on the PlayStation 2. I didn't. I only talked about the games that completed, but Samurai Jack sounds very similar. You've got to try and save things, but yeah,
just the other games do it so much better.
Games do it so much better.
Yeah, it's a shame, really, but it's all right. It does its job. Next up, another thing that other games do better: Grand Theft Auto 5. Now, to be honest, I played this because obviously I've not played a Grand Theft Auto game since 3. And what we used to do is on a Friday and Saturday night, we used to go to my mate Pogo's, and we used to play this while we were getting pissed. And we would do, and I say play it, not this one, but 3. I say play it. All we'd do is see how long we could, see how quick we could get like a level 5 police warden and see how long we could last for, and then we'll pass the controller on. That's how we used to play Grand Theft Auto. It's fucking loads of fun. But now I'm older, that kind of stuff really frustrates me. I want to go and complete a game. I can't go and like sandbox it and like do random shit anymore. I'm not into that kind of thing. So when I first started this game, it was really cool, set up like a movie. He was kind of following a story, and it was quite cool. And then it plunked you in the open world, and it was like, do stuff. And I was like, I didn't know what to do. I was like, where's the next mission? I was like, I couldn't figure it out. So it took me ages to find where to go, and it was like an S on the map or something. And then it started getting better, but again, it just didn't hold my interest that much. I know you really like it, don't you?
I've just bought it for the third time on the PS5.
Oh, yeah.
The PS3. I spent days and days as a serial killer in it. I had like a leopard skin tuxedo and a clown mask with like red dreadlocks, and I was just going around on night times and just stalking women with my knife. It sounds mental, doesn't it? And I spent days just doing that.
You see, I like the idea. I love people talking stories about that, but like I would have done that back in the day, but now I'm like, unless that's a story mode, I don't want to do it. I just want to go fucking finish it.
Yeah, I was like that with Red Dead. It took me Red Dead 2. It just took me forever to get to the point where I wanted to try and finish it. Just because, just give me a linear story, and then let me, when we finish the linear story, explore the hell out of it everywhere.
Yeah.
So,
maybe
it's just because I'm old.
You had to earn a certain amount of money in a cult to join this cult. I was like, okay, I want to do this. I don't want to do the rest of the story. I want this money, but it's like I could be a taxi driver to make money, and it's very, very slow. Then it came out the console. I was like, fuck this.
Just invest in shares. You make billions.
Yeah, I couldn't be fucked with that. That's
too much effort. Give me a linear story and let me explore everything else at my own leisure afterwards.
Yeah,
I really. This is probably why I class myself as a more modern gamer, because this is why I don't do retro stuff. Just give me a story and let me play the story. Most retro games don't have a story. They're not very story driven. So yeah.
You're going to get the Final Fantasy fans coming after you now, aren't you?
Really retro though. That's nothing we class is, everything we say is retro isn't retro. It's what's the other word? Vintage.
I say PS4's retro now.
It's not retro, is it?
None of it's retro. By definition, none of it's retro. It's vintage. Retro is something that is new, that is designed to look like it is old. So Evercade is retro. Everything that is actually old is old and vintage.
The fact that PS4 still has regular releases, like multiple a week, doesn't mean
I know,
it's
but
retro.
if I say the PS4 is retro, it pisses loads of people off, which I think.
Oh yeah. But yeah, no, this game, I think I'm gonna just nip in and out of it over the next year. Like like some games, I'll just be like, I'm gonna beat this within the next week or whatever. This is gonna be like a year-long jobby, I think.
I took 2 weeks off work when that came out on the PS3, and just spent 2 weeks. I just loved it.
But it's on the PS5. It's like it's a game that's never gonna die, is it?
It came out in 2013, I think, on the PS3. It's 10 years old already.
But you can feel how dated it is, though. That's the thing. Like there's like the gunfighting mechanics. There was a bit like at the beginning where you was like you went down an alleyway and then you had a shootout where you had to shoot the car and blow it up and stuff like that. And that was like really cool. But I kept dying because it was just so stiff and not modern enough, if that makes sense.
It's got some light RPG elements, so you can improve your gunplay and stuff, as you play.
Right.
Yeah, and you're driving and you're swimming and stuff.
I mean, it might get to a point where I play it a little bit and I actually play a lot and it might make me want to finish it. I don't know. But yeah, the last game I'm going to talk about, I went to the handheld route and it was Gurman. on the PSP. Oh man, I want to like this game so much. It's quite fun. It's a bit girly. It's a bit more like cutesy than I was expecting. It's sort of like a 3D collector phone adventure game, sort of story mode adventure game where you kind of got an overworld and you kind of go into like the levels to do a bit, and then you come back and do more and pass objects on to progress the story and stuff like that. And I've got about halfway, maybe a bit further, and I've got to a point where the levels as well, you get like, you know, when you finish a level, you kind of like, you get a bronze, silver, gold, and then platinum and shit like that. I was getting stuff like that for like how many chests you get. And I got to a stage where you have to get like this monkey suit, because I had to look, I didn't know how to progress, so I looked on a walkthrough, and you had to get a monkey suit. And to get the monkey suit, you've got to get 4 platinum medals and trade it in with something like this guy, and he will give you the monkey suit. So I've got to go back and beat the levels, and I've got to open up all the chests, kill all the enemies, and I've done a few that I've not. I've got 3 out of the 4 that I need, and I can't get the 4th one, and it's frustrating me to go through all the levels thinking that I've destroyed everything, and turns out there's like 1 box that I've not got the platinum, and that kind of like breaks me out of that game a little bit. I want to just beat the game, and that's it. I don't want to have to perfect the game, if that makes sense. That sounds like something that you like, though, Ross. You like that kind of like, I need to beat it like perfectly. But I mean, like I said, I really want to like this game because it's really cool. It's sort of like drilled. You have like this drill where you have like this attack. It's quite satisfying when you pull it off. Cool game. I didn't realize. I just realized 505 games as well. I didn't realize. But yeah, I mean, if I was to have got through them 4 levels and got the platinum without realizing, I would have progressed the story, and I'd probably have been telling you how great this game was. But because I'm 1 short, I can't tell you that, unfortunately. It's frustrating because I want to like it. Has anyone else, have you played that, Ross, at all? Or
No, I haven't played it, no.
Can imagine it being a bit of a U game, really. I don't know why.
Like something I'd enjoy. I may have to track it down.
Have you not got it?
I haven't got it.
Yeah, get it.
Get it. It's expensive now, aren't you?
I don't know.
Have any of you played?
It's not that expensive. It's only 200 quid. It's cheaper than Q1. I'm joking.
I've not played Sifu. I've heard good things about it, though, Mark.
Yeah,
Is it a Doom game?
Pardon?
Is it to do with Doom or something?
No. It's like a martial art. It's like a 3D beat 'em up.
Oh, is
It's all about timing and parrying and stuff like that. It's quite a short game. It only takes about an hour and a half, but it's all about learning, like getting through the game as quick as you can by getting better, at the fighting. Really,
they just
really
released an update for it to make it easier, didn't they?
I'd beat it. Then they brought out all these bloody updates because it was hard as nails when I played it. Then they brought out an easy mode.
Try doing it in real
UK
life.
crowd always before me. Fuck's sake. Can't have any game now.
Yeah, you should try doing Sifu in real life. It's quite fun. I got smacked right to the back of my neck today. That was amazing.
You need to learn your parry skills. Press X quicker.
Not when you're playing hooky, you don't get to press X. You're supposed to be there as the doll that everybody uses. But it was my sensei who decided to slam me in the back of the neck. It didn't actually hurt, but I wasn't expecting it. So,
Right. Can I mention some games I did, shall I? I've got a couple of digital ones. I've got SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. It was free on PlayStation Plus, and I thought everyone's always said it's a real good platformer. Should play it, like 3D platformer. It's all right. I don't understand why it got a remaster. It just plays like a licensed platformer. Little better than the other ones, but other than that, it's all right. If you want to play something that's an easy platinum, go for it. Other than that, yeah, ignore it.
How easy are we talking?
Very very easy actually. The Xbox version, you could smash it out in 8 hours.
All right.
It's very easy. I did a few very easy platinums just because I needed to for PlayStation Month. So I did one called Memory Lane, which is one of those memory games where you flip over.
You may have done that.
Yeah, that was dreadful. And I did one called Chickens on the Road, where literally you drive down. It's like 79p. You drive down a road and run over chickens. That is
Ross,
it.
You know, I said I played that. I went back and actually looked. I've not played that. The one that I played was called Crossy Road. I thought it was the same game. It's a different game. So yeah, that's very similar sounding. Maybe
it was dreadful. But the last few games I played, I attempted to play Assault Suit Linus.
Good game.
It's an old Mega Drive game in it. But before I get into the game, I dropped this, right? And the middle spindle of the case fell out, but it was stuck in the disc, so it was flapping around in there. I'm just thinking that's a very shit case. But yeah, I couldn't get anywhere on that. I fucking sucked at that. So
it's a very odd game. Like it's sort of like it's not like a traditional shooter, nor it goes into platforming mode as well. And then
something about it I couldn't get on with, and I don't know. I didn't play enough of it to give that much of a thought on it. But what I did finish, I finished Monkey King, Heroes Back, because we're talking about Journey to the West. This is genuinely a good game. It's a licensed game based on a Chinese animated movie. But yeah, it's like a 3D beat 'em up. Imagine what it reminds me of is like a budget Platinum games game.
Okay,
it's surprisingly good and it's very cheap.
I'll have to play it because I've had it in my shelf for years.
It's
just
genuinely
one of those
good.
ones I just,
If you want to get the trophies on it, I'd recommend getting the DLC soon because these license things just disappear. The DLC is quite expensive. But the DLC is weird. Like one turns it into a shooter almost, and the other one's like a boss rush kind of mode almost thing. But it's very, I don't know. I enjoyed this. This was good. I was genuinely surprised. But
it's only £4 on Amazon or something.
Oh yeah, it's cheap as shit.
I keep seeing pictures of like people posting it in game where it's like going down like in 25p increments. The lowest I've seen it is like 150.
Yeah,
and I think I'm the last person to own that game. I actually don't own it.
It's another one of
it's good.
Ross mentioned it, and I bought it at a fiver, I think, at £4 something on Amazon. It's another one. Everybody says something's a good game, so you pick it up.
150.
Yeah, Ross Corbana says 150. In fact, my local game doesn't have it, so if you do see it, Corbana, grab it for me, and I'll send you some pennies.
It's worth it. It's such a good £1.50. The other one I have been trying to work through, which actually has multiple games on it, and I've completed 2 of them, but I'm not considering a completion until I do all of them, which was the Castlevania collection. I beat Bloodlines with both characters, and I beat Kid Dracula on it.
How tough is Kid Dracula?
Kid Dracula's fucking balls hard for what it is. It looks
I
so
put it on a couple of months ago, thinking it was just going to be a little kiddie, big fun Castlevania, and that last level, fuck me.
Oh, the
it's
last
just
stage,
seriously cheap bits in it. That's all it is. It's some seriously cheap bits, but it's a good game. I enjoyed it.
Oh, I really enjoyed it.
I did find Kid Dracula easier than Bloodlines though. Like the last level on Bloodlines where you have to refight the bosses and that weird fucking Grim Reaper dude, then go on to fight the last boss. That's tough. But I'm going to go back through and beat all of these, and then I'll consider this a completion. I won't consider it until I've done all the games on there.
So you got me wanting to play that again. So after PlayStation Month, I played a couple more. So I've got Castlevania 2 and Castlevania 3 left to do to get the platinum. But Castlevania 3, you've got to do it 4 times.
Yeah.
4 times.
Savage.
Which isn't. I mean, it's worth it.
It's not the longest game in the world, but like if you're going for a platinum, you'd probably go once, twice, and then keep going, wouldn't you? And then it becomes a bit of a chore.
They did the same with Curse of the Moon 2, didn't they? You've got to beat that 3 or 4 times.
I did Curse of the Moon 1. I did all of that and got I did it on Xbox and got all the achievements. I've got the PlayStation one. I'll have to do that next. But I love that. That's like as 8-bit Castlevania rip-offs. I actually enjoyed that more than
I love the
Castlevania games I've played.
Actually, Ross, I was forgetting to ask you, how are you playing Castlevania Collection? Because I went to look at your achievements, like where you can compare achievements and stuff. And when I go on your name, it doesn't show for some reason.
Doesn't show?
No.
Oh, actually, is it because mine's the American? Have you got the physical?
No, mine's digital.
Maybe there's a European and an American because mine's the limited run one, so it might be American.
Yeah, so there you go. Well, you can get the European one and get double stack them.
There you go. That might be the answer.
Castlevania 3 can beat 8 times.
Oh yeah, I need to do that.
You'll be a Castlevania 3 god by the end of it.
So I'm willing to take us to the 3.5 hour mark, Eddie, because I realised I missed a game, and it's one that Marcus would not like me missing. I actually played Broken Sword: Shadow of the Templars on my PlayStation Hacked Classic because I own it on PC, but I don't own it on PlayStation 1. But I wanted to play it again, and I don't have a PC that will play it now. Play it well without me doing stuff to the PC I'm on now. It's not very good playing it with a pad. It's much better playing it with a mouse and keyboard. But still very, very fun. Still very.
Did you try plugging a USB mouse in just to see if that worked?
No, I didn't. I just persevered because I'm lazy and a glutton for punishment, and I'm Xbox scum, as we've discussed. But no, it's still a great game, and if anybody has not played a Broken Sword game, they should definitely try and get at least playing the first one.
You'll never look at goats the same way once you've played it.
Well, I mean, when Tommy kept saying goated, that's the first thing I kept thinking about.
You need to play 5. It brings the goat back.
Oh, does it?
5 is really good.
I love
like
5.
Really.
I kept posting into a group. There's a bit that really pissed me off, and it wasn't the goat. It was getting back with the wet beer towel. It took fucking forever for me to get back with the wet beer towel to wet the plaster of Paris to make the engraving. The goat was easy because I remembered the goat bit, but the getting back to get the wet plaster of Paris was just a nightmare. It was far easier on PC than it was on PlayStation.
I've not played it since 90s.
That was it. I missed a game.
I played 2 on the PlayStation. I never played the first one on PlayStation. There's PC
I might
always.
play the second one as part of the 52 game challenge, just to do them both.
So I've said it many times before, but like them old LucasArts style, old 90s point and click games, they play so well on iPads or like just tablets in general. Because when the iPad first got like quite big, there was all of them started getting re-released. But there was like doing them where they had like a mode on it where like you press the button and you can get a hint. So if you got stuck, it would like give you hints. You can go further, which is quite good because some of the games I was playing for the first time as well, and it was like I didn't know what the fuck to do. Some of them games back then were so obtuse. It's like I don't know how we used to get through them. But yeah, tablets are so good for like point and click games.
Anything that could run Scum VM was just immense. So it would run anything like that.
Guy Cream Pie, what's that? 50 Guy Cream Pie?
Does he mean American Pie? Because there was like 7 of them films.
Probably, yeah.
The first one, I enjoyed the first three. The second, what annoys me though, about the American films, when you see them at parties, like the teenagers at parties, and they think it's like the greatest, wildest party in the world because there's one person being sick in the corner or something like that. And then you actually go to a house party that I'm sure we've all been to, and there's people getting chucked out the window and shit up the walls, and it's like fucking.
It reminds me of those memes where ages ago it's like, what's the difference between a UK and American festival? There's an American going, I saw someone spitting on the ground. The English one's like, I saw someone snort coke off the back of a hooker's ass and slide through his own shit.
Yeah.
To be fair, I have been to a festival in America, and how they do festivals, they don't camp. They there's hotels locally, and then everyone pretty much piles there. And it was quite funny because when I was there, it was 2 weeks until I was 21. So I couldn't buy alcohol. They're so strict over there. But everyone in the hotel had people bringing alcohol in for all the underage kids. But their beer was the cans were cans of Coke size beer, and it was 3%. It was drinking what? But they'd have 3 or 4 of them. They'd be fucked out of the fucking heads, and they'll be going mental, jumping off fucking balconies into the swimming pool, and there was just knocking on people's doors and opening fire extinguishers in the faces. So all the corridors are just completely trashed in the morning. So they did have some good pies, I must admit, but not quite to the extreme that we would have, because we, like you say, would be getting off our fucking faces properly, whereas they'll just have 4 cans and they're just they're anyone's. It's quite a cheap date, really, in American.
I got whacked in the back of the head with some liquid at download, and it's I'm not even going to bother touching that. I don't care what it is. I'm just going to let it slide and just carry on.
It's got to let it cool down.
It wasn't warm though, so it could have been anything. That's the problem.
When I was in Florida with the boat, I did this. She was horrible. She was called Fifi, and she was a proper trailer park trash girl. And all the lads nicknamed her Predator. Her face looked like, he takes the mask off, Predator. She was fucking awful. I went back as well the next night. Fifi, her name was. I'll never forget her.
But was she as a butter? Was she a butter?
Oh, she was awful.
You were
not even a butter.
She was awful. Nice.
And with that, shall we end the stream then?
Why not?
Fifi, the trailer park girl.
So I've talked about masturbation 3 times, my homosexuality for 5 minutes, and I've finished on Fifi, the trailer park trash.
And everybody wonders why you're not on YouTube anymore.
It's right. It's not the first time you finished on Fifi.
Yeah, true.
It might not be the last. Who knows?
Amazing.
Thank you, everyone in the chat.
So, just want to finish as well, because I know where Roller, what's his name? Roller 2, I'm going to call him. He was asking about Nintendo Month. Now, I think we're going to be bringing these back every 3 months, and Nintendo Month is definitely going to be the next one. So, is that July? Is the next? Hang on. I think it's July. We're going to have Nintendo Month. And then after that, I think we're going to change it up a little bit, because obviously we've done the main companies, and I think some cool suggestions from other people would be quite cool. I'm thinking maybe having a racing month maybe as one of them, because it would be quite cool to have these indefinitely just to get us playing our games. Like a racing month, maybe something like a Capcom month, or some other publisher maybe.
These are separate to the 52 game challenge that, Mark introduced me to that 52 game challenge originally, but yeah, these are separate to that. They will just be, I guess, play this type of game or whatever, or this company, etc.
Exactly. It's just for getting people playing games, having a bit of a discussion at the end of the month. How did you? Because again, we're all going to do it in our different ways. How we probably do it on the stream, we like completing our games, and it'll be added to the 52 game challenge, whereas other people would be doing it in different ways. Maybe someone might want to try and get a subset for that month of a certain company. That would be quite an extreme thing to do, but I mean, Al probably will be up for that. He loves his extreme collecting, doesn't he? And by then, who knows? He might have bought 6 houses by then, started collecting them.
Kojima,
Well,
man.
wait till he comes to
You
Bury
ain't
and
gonna
he
get
sees how
one
cheap
game.
house prices are. Honestly, I keep telling him to move north, but he doesn't believe me.
Well, no, he said he's found a place in Liverpool for like 20 grand. By the place in Liverpool, 20 grand by the beach.
By the beach, so it's probably Wallasey, so it's not Liverpool, and yeah, it's probably 20 grand for a reason when it's out that way.
Full of Fifi's mates, that's why. But yeah, so obviously Nintendo one's going to be the next one, and then like I say, it'll be quite cool to see any suggestions from other people. How are we going to make the one after that? It'll be like the Christmas one, wouldn't it? Really? After that,
if anybody is in or uses WhatsApp and doesn't communicate in the bigger groups that we're in and knows any of us, then drop us all a message and we'll add you to the Let's Make Al Play Nintendo group, as it's called now. Initially the PlayStation thing was to make Al step
It
away.
sounds like something Bob Geldof would organise, isn't it?
I would have liked to have played Peaches at one point. That would have been quite nice.
I don't know.
Not now, though.
If anybody would, if anybody's on,
I would probably get arrested if I exhumed her.
I didn't realise Peaches was dead.
Yeah, no, but a while ago.
Fair play, but yeah, if anybody is wanting to join in these streams, and they're not in any of the groups, then reach out to one of us on a social media, and somebody will arrange to get you involved in just the Nintendo Make Out Play Nintendo group, as it's called at the minute, and then hopefully you can jump on the stream at the end of the month, because I might not play that much Nintendo, to be fair.
Even if you play, I mean, that's the thing as well. Like, I think people see it as a challenge or whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's just if you play one game that you wouldn't have normally have played, it's all about getting through your backlogs, isn't it, really?
Yeah, there's a couple of games I want to play for my 52 game challenge stuff, but other than that, there's not much Nintendo.
Yeah, we're getting through our backlogs, and then we're buying 20 games a month. So.
No, yeah. So, Scott, hopefully you're up for the Nintendo month. That'll be quite. To be honest, we was maybe thinking about doing a Sega month. Shall we do a Sega month before we go on to genre months? Or
yeah, a Sega month would be interesting because it's going to be all retro, unless you're classing Sega games that have been released on modern consoles.
Sonic 06.
Oh,
we should all play Sonic 06 one month.
Creme de la creme.
Yeah, cool. Right, so we'll end that stream here. So anyway, thanks for watching. It's quite a long one, but I mean, to be honest, I think we probably could go on for a few hours just talking random shit anyway. But I suppose we've got to end it somewhere. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you've not subscribed to any of these awesome people, the names are there. Xbox Scumbag is their channel name.
To me, because I'll just delete my channel in a couple of weeks. Don't waste your time.
Well, you're a serial collector now, aren't you?
Yeah. I've got some nice special key up there.
Cool. All right. So see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.